Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bob Seat. This is episode 4. We've got Maxiums on the line here. We gotta change your name here.
Uh-oh.
Maximus, not Maxiums.
Yeah, not Maxiums. Yeah,
There
I
we go.
messed that up. I spelled it myself wrong. My
It
own name.
happens. He's
We're
got the he's
fool.
got the background set up, but we're getting there.
Like I
Um,
said,
well,
I'm an old lady with technology.
well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Max. I'd like to tell you a little bit about Max and why he's here. He's a friend of mine, and he's an interesting guy. And to tell you a little bit about him, he is a self-proclaimed builder and creator. And he likes to build and create things made out of wood. And he likes a lot of different things. He likes history, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about history. He likes movies and music, and he likes powerlifting too. So we may talk about some of these things. We'll see.
Sounds like we're on a
But
dating show.
yeah, I mean, if anybody's interested, you can give a little bit of spiel if you're single, you want to talk about it. But you're not
Actually, you know my girlfriend. She was in a play with
exactly
you.
okay. He is not single,
But
ladies. So unfortunately, that won't be happening this time.
I'm sure I got
But
lots of
for
single friends.
there you go. He's got
There you
friends. So if you think he's interesting, then his friends are probably interesting too.
go.
All right, well, let's get into it, Max. Tell me what's on your mind. I don't know.
Oh my God. I mean, I've been having a bit. I had a busy day today, but oh God, there's so much happening in the world at the moment that it's like, where do you even start? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I gave it to you.
I don't like to get too much into like politics and stuff, but
Yeah,
I
that's fair.
mean,
We can
with
we can
the,
skip all that. Yeah, no
yeah,
politics. We don't
yeah,
talk
no
about politics
politics.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like, wow, like the entire world is like shifting all at once, and it's like it almost feels like you're in a movie because of how quickly things are moving.
yeah,
Like from all these, especially, oh my God, I mean, just with all these like countries and how we affect them, it's unbelievable how quick we're advancing, especially with AI.
yeah,
Like AI is, I was okay. So today I was
yeah.
listening to Zelensky talk, and they translated his voice from his. He was speaking Russian, Ukrainian, and English, and it all sounded like one seamless 3 hour long thing because of AI. They took his AI voice, they trained his actual voice, and so he can speak whatever language he wants, and it just sounds like him speaking English the entire time. The fact that we can do that now already, it's like we're living in RoboCop era. Like the '80s is the future. Like '80s movies are like the future now.
So
It's mind blowing.
it was hours long, or they just
It
put like
was
one
no, it
language
was
after.
it's three. It was a 3 hour long podcast,
Okay,
and
interesting. Wow.
it was just all the way through, and
Huh.
it was unbelievable. I
And
mean,
it sounded like him too.
yeah, it sounded
Wow.
like that's the crazy part. You know when you see like on Instagram or something, you might get an ad, and you can sound like something's maybe slightly off. Like it's either it's like a
Yeah.
celebrity talking, but it's not really coming out of their mouth. I hear like
Oh
there'll be a
yeah.
lot of like inspirational speeches, and it'll be like Matthew McConaughey or something, and it'll have it'll be like the thing about that was like whatever, and it's just like it's
Yeah.
not coming from him. It's just like
Wow.
from a computer, and it sounds like them. But
This on
that's basically
Facebook?
what they this is on Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. Wow. Interesting.
It's all over the place. I'm surprised you don't see it. It's
Yeah. I
you
don't
can even
I don't
go.
scroll
So
those much.
there's language models that you can actually go like look at now.
Wow.
Like there's certain websites. I don't know all the names off the top of my
Yeah.
head,
Yeah.
but basically you can go onto these websites and you can even type in your own dialogue if you want it to
Yeah.
have a random person say it, like a random celebrity saying whatever it is you
Hmm.
want them to say, and you can kind of pick through a list. And it's crazy. So, but they use it for good things like this, which is the translation model. So you
Hmm.
could speak, when, uh, political figures or celebrities or whatever are doing speeches. Now it can be kind of widely translated. And not only
Hmm.
is it translated, but it's translated directly into their voice, which I think is even, a little bit more nutty that we can do that. And I mean, of course, we
Yeah.
have like the things like some people I work with. there's a guy I work with from Brazil. His name's Weaverton, and he speaks so very little English, like little to
Yeah.
none. But we do the phone thing, which is, we both sit there with a phone in between us, and we
Really?
just
Wow.
talk back and forth, and it translates it instantly for one
Hmm.
another. And like, even though we're right in
I
front of each other,
tried
we're just,
that.
yeah,
It was
didn't
hard.
work for you.
I did that in Japan. I had like the phone on the table with
How,
like my Airbnb person. And I would like say
yeah,
something. It just like it was just
how long
slow.
ago
Like
did
I
it?
would that was like years ago. That was probably
Yeah,
like, I don't know, 6, 7 years ago. So maybe the
yeah.
technology got better or like
No, for
faster or
sure. I
something.
mean,
But yeah.
have you played with any of the AI stuff like ChatGPT and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I'm a big ChatGPT guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So even that is like,
Yeah.
do you do it where you're just text typing it or where you're talking too? Because even that
Uh
kind of blows my mind.
I've done the talking. The voice kind of creeps me out a little bit. It
Yeah.
doesn't like it doesn't feel like real. It's kind of weird. Plus, like I'm like a very quick, like I want to just like get to the information quickly. So like
Yeah.
just normal
Yeah.
talking is too long. With
Yeah.
ChatGPT, like I just like I'll stop at mid sentence and I'll just
Yeah.
like, you go in the wrong direction. I just gotta,
Yeah.
and the problem is that kind of leaks into my personal life. And sometimes like I lose patience with just people talking at like a normal speed.
Right.
So yeah, so if I interrupt you a lot, that's probably the ChatGPT effect getting to my brain. But
I
yeah,
feel you.
it's interesting. But it's honestly kind of scary when you're talking about the AI voice. Like on the one hand, it's great. Like that can bring us closer together with other countries. We can hear what they're actually saying. But on the other hand, aren't you scared that like maybe they're not telling you like the actual thing? Like they could put whatever
That
they want in there, you know?
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, on a small scale, I feel like that's where it gets really dangerous. On a
Yeah.
larger scale, it's a little bit harder because you have other people that can translate it to say, "Hey, that's wrong."
Sure.
Like in that thing that I was talking about, where Zelensky was talking, there was something that they had said that got misconstrued, and he was
Mm,
basically like saying, "With an iron fist," and
mm,
instead of it translating with an iron fist, it said like a slap on the wrist because
mm.
word for word translation, I think in their language, it's basically
Yeah.
meant like hand over hand would be the exact translation. So to English, slap on the wrist made more sense for the language model over an iron fist kind of thing. So it's like you get those niche, you know, what is it called? Like dialect or like
Yeah.
specific, like it could be even specific to a town, like how Philly, how we have like John or or
Sure.
like or things like that, or that's gas, which means something's good. Like that could
Yeah.
be misconstrued in a
Totally.
professional language model to be like, oh, that's gas, and then it's like that's gasoline. I don't understand, or that's a, So I think, I mean, obviously, as time goes on, that's going to get better, and we're not going to have to think about it because the AI is going to work its way out for us. But
See, I
yeah,
don't know. So, like, for me, like, that's a problem I feel like with just normal everyday conversation, even when we speak the same language, is just
yeah,
misunderstanding the words people use because sometimes we both will use the same word, even,
yeah,
but we mean different things.
yeah,
And, like, I don't know that AI can solve the problem of us clarifying with each other because a lot of times, we hear something and we start reading into it immediately and we start making a lot of assumptions and we get things wrong, even though that's not what somebody meant. Right. And
yeah.
suddenly like you're having an argument with somebody and like you really actually agree with them about something, right? But it's just a
That happens
matter
a
of
lot.
like that's not what I
Yeah,
meant. But like they
yeah,
don't care that that's what you meant. And they don't care to clarify. And so like on one hand, like it's scary because they could just hear the wrong thing and they don't even it doesn't matter that the translation got it wrong, right? They don't take the second to stop. It just I think it raises a bigger concern with just culture in general
yeah.
and just the desire to try and understand somebody else
I
and
do, I
communicate
do
clearly.
think, I do think in the future
Yeah.
that AI might be able to understand it better than we do because only, and I
Yeah.
hate to even say that,
Sure.
but we
No,
already
you're right.
have, things that study people's face, and it can somewhat tell. I don't know with how much accuracy, like percentage wise, if
Yeah.
somebody's lying, and it does that by
Mm,
found data that if you look up and to the left or whatever, that might mean you're thinking back on a memory, and if you look down and to the right, that might
mm.
mean you're being deceptive, like things like that. And then if it's tracking all your facial features, the veracity to your voice, the
Your
strength of,
emotions,
yeah, the
your
emotion and way you're saying it, and then it combines that with all it's learned over the
Yeah.
10 years it's been.
Biometrics,
Yeah,
blood
everything.
pressure.
So then it's going to be like we're almost
Yeah.
obsolete machines, like
Yeah.
in our like for ourselves, because we can't even understand each other as good as a machine can, which is scary.
Yeah.
Let's
It's
shut
an
it down
yeah.
now.
It's an interesting time, right? Because like on the one hand, you might think like who controls the AI, right? Because who controls the AI could control how the AI interprets language and whether or not
Yeah.
it gets accused of like political leaning all the time. And
Oh yeah, yeah,
there's reason to believe that at some point it could be developed in that way. But at the same time, there's so much like open source AI at this point, and like people running it locally on their own machines
yeah. Well, yeah.
that
I mean
it's gonna be crazy.
so I think it was early on last year. I wanted to learn more about it, and even though I said I'm bad with computers, this was the one time I actually tried to like deep dive, because it was around the time everybody was making those like Instagram AI versions of themselves, and it was like an app. You pay like ten
Yeah.
bucks or something, and it would make a few
Yep.
AI pictures of you.
Yep.
And I remember I was like, oh, well, what? How does that work? Because I feel like if a company is able to access it, then it's probably already a general public thing at this point.
Mm,
So there's a bunch of softwares that you can actually download,
yeah.
and this I'm sure this is already probably outdated because of how quick this stuff moves. But
Midjourney.
no, it was like, so it was a bunch of different kind of softwares that you had to kind of
Sure.
compile, and then you had to
Mm,
train it. So you would give it basically like all these different web browsers, and it would train off of them, like Google and Yahoo and
mm,
Bing, stuff like that.
mm,
And
mm,
then you would give it images that you wanted it to learn. So, say for instance, your face or an object, and then you
mm.
would basically you would name the object. So for yourself, it's pictures all you. You would just say, for me, it would be Max, right? So then it knows, because the AI only works in ones and zeros essentially. So it doesn't know me as a person. It just knows me as Max. That's the
Mm.
object that my face is. And then if you said like Max as an animated character from whatever, like Disney or something, and then it would take all of its knowledge of Disney characters and what they
Mhm.
look like, and then all the images of me and what I look like, and it would try and find a happy medium to like blend them, and then it would relight the scene. And I mean,
Yeah.
it would happen over a course of a minute or two before it could generate an image. And sometimes you get a really weird image where there's like a foot coming out of your head or something. But then
Sure. Yeah.
sometimes it
Yeah.
gets really accurate.
Yeah.
And when it gets accurate, it gets a little scary because you start losing some of that creativity, or like even B-roll and shows like where it would just be backgrounds, or like all that stuff is now kind of going out the window, and you see it all the
Mm.
time with these ads. I see it a lot with like mobile app games, like where every part of it is basically AI generated
Mm.
image that they say, oh, well, what do you want? And they all sit down in a boardroom and they talk about what they want, and they basically just type it into an AI software and it just produces it. Or
Yeah.
even this year we played it was essentially like Dungeons and Dragons, and we all had our characters, and basically everybody had to make their character and what they looked like. So I that was something I wanted to see. So I took everybody's characters and I just put it into the
Mm.
the chat GPT actually, instead of this older software. And it just pumps out these images that are like
Yeah.
super accurate to what you're describing, and you don't even need an artist anymore, which is,
Like magic at this point.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's kind of wild. It's like the things we dreamed about as kids, and we're like, yeah, this couldn't happen. And
yeah,
Photoshop, when I was a kid, you were like, it was amazing. You could just like do these like warpy things and drag things. And I'm
yeah,
just like, oh,
yeah,
this is magical. I don't know how Adobe does this.
yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
like now it's just like insane. Like the things you're
yeah,
describing, like, dude, it's on Apple. Like they have the Apple Playground or something, AI Playground or something. Like
yeah.
it's in seconds now. Like it's just
And
it's going so fast. It's so accessible to like everybody. It is getting scary out there.
it learns so quick because we're
Mm.
participating, right? The more we
Yeah.
feed into it, the more
Mm.
it learns, the better it gets. It's like,
Yeah.
and it doesn't, obviously it doesn't learn conventionally like a person, but the more data we put
Yeah.
into it, the more data it has to feed off of. And then especially
Mm.
like chat gpt, it can kind of hone it. It has the internet, but now it has all these users that use specifically that, so it can kind of keep honing it,
Mm.
and that's why it keeps getting
Sure.
updated all the time. And
I wish it would get updated more, to be honest.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'll
true,
just this honestly, I use it every day, and like
yeah,
just some of like the things that like I want it to to do.
to
It's just
do.
like I'm like, you never learn. I keep even within the same conversation, I'm just like,
Yeah,
I told you this like 10 times already. It just keeps repeating the same mistake. But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
probably
You know
because I'm
what?
too low of a pay grade for what
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
paying for,
that's the
you
thing too.
know?
It is weird because I have caught it being
Yeah.
wrong and like being able
Oh
to be
yeah.
like, and you say, hey, like that was I think what you just said was wrong, and then they're like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh
And
yeah,
it's like, oh
that
yeah,
was
sorry.
wrong.
Whoops.
It's like,
Whoops.
did you just admit that you were wrong?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it doesn't care. And then
yeah,
like it'll be like, don't worry, I won't be wrong again.
yeah,
And then you just like ask it like a similar question and it like lies again. And you're just like it's like whoops. It's like
yeah, yeah.
you know,
It's
it
really weird.
yeah, it's not like accurate. It's like a it's like brainstorming with somebody who like acts overconfident.
Yeah,
But sometimes it's good, gets the ideas rolling.
yeah.
I want to ask, as a movie and music buff,
Mhm.
how do you feel about AI in movies and music
I mean,
as a
that's
watcher?
I mean, obviously, it's not. I don't think personally it's good. I mean, the only place I see it being good is gearing things towards a specific user. I don't think in the actual creative space it's good because then it's gonna narrow mind ideas and people are gonna be less creative. I feel like
All
it's
right,
just gonna be
philosophically, but as an
yeah.
audience member, as someone who likes
Well, I
watching
I personally
movies,
wouldn't want to watch an AI generated thing. I like the feel
mm,
that a crew is there and they did the work. I mean, I worked on an HBO show back in 2019, and just
what show?
the, it was called Mayor of Easttown, like Kate
Mayor
Winslet.
of
It was like a
Easttown.
yeah, it was like a detective kind of thing. It was an
Were,
HBO show.
were you building a set or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was doing set decorating. Yeah,
Okay,
so it was like
sick.
there's so much you don't see like behind the
Yeah,
scenes that
sure.
you can feel
Mm.
through watching it, or like even as I'm watching it I'm like, oh, we were there, we were
You're looking at
here,
the
we did
set.
this, we did this, yeah.
Yeah.
And even from the first opening shot I'm like, oh, that guy's house was like that stunk, and like so
Mm.
you have all these memories associated with it, and I feel like that translates through when people are acting too, especially like if scenes were all just AI generated, then it's just pulling from what we've already done, and it can,
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be able to make its own thing in the future, but I feel like it's going to be that uncanny valley kind of where it rings
Mm.
hollow a little bit, where it feels a little bit soulless because there wasn't
It's just
people that
copies of
actually,
other things.
yeah, and
Sure.
like,
Mm.
and when even though we might have walls up that make something like, for instance, we're working in an abandoned hospital, and we had three different scenes from three different episodes we were going to shoot, and they all
Mm.
took place in different places. Like one was supposed to be like a pediatric like doctor's office, and the other one was like the kid got injured and he was like in the hospital bed, and then she was injured in one scene. So we had three different rooms in this abandoned hospital,
Mm.
and in the scenes it looks like this clean hospital and all these doctors running around, but then in real life, it's a dirty abandoned hospital with cracked windows, and all
Mm.
these things. So it's just, you're you're not going to get that even though I'm saying, even though we're doing fake things, you're still doing it in a real environment, and I feel like that just adds to the humanness of it, I guess. And I'm not trying to be too
Yeah.
philosophical, but
No, I hear you.
I
It's
think that I wouldn't enjoy watching something knowing it's just generated and it wasn't lived in a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, there's a couple things to it, right? Like on the one hand, like if you know that it's AI, something about that bothers you because you
Yeah,
kind of were there. But at the same time, like there's a real like difference to the possible actual quality of it, right? Because there's the human component of the dirtiness of the hospital room that makes things not so perfect. That makes you
yeah,
kind of that kind of limits what you can do and creates like a human element that the AI just won't. And everything will be a
yeah,
little bit too perfect. It'll be like that uncanny valley, like you
yeah. And
mentioned. Yeah,
I think the mistakes are kind of like, if you see a mistake in like Game
yeah,
of Thrones, they left a coffee
sure.
cup in one scene.
Yeah,
That's like kind of celebrate it and everybody gets excited.
sure.
But if an
Yeah,
AI messed up and it made something imperfect, it'd be like, oh, it's
yeah. It
just
feels weird.
it's a crappy machine, like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not like a happy accident. It's just like an imperfect thing.
Yeah, if I
So
got a typo in an email, that's fine. But like if it says like name or instead of somebody's name, it's
yeah,
like, What was this written by
Yeah,
AI? No, but and
yeah.
and as a musician, like I think about like like auto tune, right? Like I feel like auto tune kind of took away. It's like that started us down the path of getting away from
Mm,
some of that human element in the voice. When you're listening to music, like you want some of that nuance,
yeah.
right? But auto tune takes away, and as soon as you like, I don't know if you heard any of the AI music. Have you heard any like Suno or something?
Oh no, not nothing like that.
Yeah,
I
they
thought you meant
they
like, yeah, where they
they
like
make
just
entire
people
songs
talking.
now. They
Yeah.
they can create the lyrics, they can create the melodies and the
Mm,
voice singing it, uh, and it's just like a little bit too perfect. And I feel like as someone who did live music for a long time, um, there's just something different about the raw element
for sure.
that takes away from it. So
Yeah.
interesting.
No, I mean, I absolutely, and even when I got to see you do the Jesus Christ Superstar play, and everybody doing that, like each time it's different, and there was like a whether something was a mistake
Yeah,
or not, it was so much better because of that. You know what I mean? If
yeah.
if
You
we
don't
were
want
just watching
perfect.
that on a video, it wouldn't
Yeah,
you wouldn't have
exactly.
that. You know,
Mm,
so I think even now, what disconnects us a little bit is screens and videos, and like in person when you get to watch a play versus watch a movie, it's kind of better to watch the play. You feel everybody a little bit more, and so I feel like AI is the next disconnect, whereas the screen was the first disconnect for us,
mm,
where movies and
mm.
TV kind of disconnected us from plays, and now the next disconnect would be AI because that disconnects us from just being human entirely. So
Yeah,
that's where it gets a little bit muddy. But I think
yeah.
using AI as a tool instead of the thing is
Mm.
a little bit more welcomed. Like how I was saying earlier with, translation, things like that. Where have you seen that show Squid Games?
Oh, dude, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Squid Games. But that's, a lot of people watch that in its original language because it's too annoying to watch
Yeah,
like dubbed. But if it
yeah,
could
totally.
be if it could be a perfect dub in the future where it's not even a dub, it's the actual
Mm.
actor's voice and the way they would say that in English, that could be a
Yeah.
good step for
And
that
they can change the
connecting.
mouth movements.
Yeah, it could just
Yeah.
like those kinds of things I
Yeah.
think are good as long as it doesn't overstep, and I don't think it will. Like I've heard people talk about, you have you seen Black Mirror? They kind of did
Yeah.
something like that,
Oh,
um,
yeah.
where they take in the future it could be it's in just an AI version of you in whatever show you want it to be, or something like that, or
Oh, yeah.
where you could basically just play God and put yourself wherever, put whatever actor wherever you wanted them. I think that's where it gets a little bit like a slippery slope because obviously we're far out from that now, but maybe that's going to be the thing that makes our generation, the old guys that are crotchety and saying how the world's falling apart, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't seem good to me, especially like I hear you on the Squid Game thing. Like part of me says like I would enjoy that because it's kind of tough. I'm one of those people that likes to listen to the original and read at the
Mm-hmm.
same time. But I recently heard I was listening to an audiobook from Quincy Jones, The 12 Notes, and he was talking about how the way to get to know a culture is through their language and through their food.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's interesting to me is in listening to the Squid Game, how they talk, right? And like the way that the language sounds. Right. There's a lot of emotion in
Mm-hmm.
just like the words that they use. It's kind of melodic in a way. It's very different from English. And
Yeah,
I worry that maybe we lose some of that by trying to adapt everything to its perfect version, right? Even if it's
right.
Black Mirror and we're making things about ourselves, we're losing all of the nuance of other people that aren't us and the people that we know in our lives.
Yeah,
It's kind of shutting things, kind of bringing it back to the beginning, right? Like, is AI helping to connect us by breaking down the walls of communication and barriers, or is it something that's kind of just focusing on us more deeply on what it is that we want or we think we want, right? Like,
right.
on one hand, like we go through all this trouble to people like have moles removed, right? And they want to like fix everything about their face and their appearance. But then you look at like video games and they're just trying to like make it like they're trying to add all those things back in.
Yeah.
because that's like what we feel is like interesting. So like, is AI going to be used to, we're going to come full circle where like AI is trying to create human elements, and
Yeah, and
it's going to
it's
be a
so funny
weird
because we're
future.
living in it right now, but it's really such a blip on our actual history. Like
Mm,
for us to
yeah.
be, I mean, they say we're I think around like 200,000 years old or something like that as far as the
How old are
humans
you,
the way.
Max, by the way?
I'm 23. Yeah.
Yeah. Um were you around at all like during the early days of the internet? Like you were probably like 5, right? Not
Kind of.
even.
Yeah, I mean, so I have two older
Yeah.
sisters, so I was a little like I remember like MySpace and stuff like that. I remember when social media kind of started picking up, but
Yeah.
everybody still had flip phones and whatnot, but
Yeah. It's
everybody still
just,
had phones. It wasn't, I never got to live in a time where
yeah.
you didn't always have your phone right in your pocket.
There was, I mean, look, there was a lot of optimism, I think, and just like wonder about like the
Yeah.
internet, and like it was just like it was a new like thing that we thought could really help connect us. Right. I was
Yeah.
talking on chat rooms at like 10 years old, probably shouldn't have been,
Yeah.
but to just like random people all over the world in like these little like just chat-based chat rooms. And we thought that that was going to help bring us closer together. And now we have things like Facebook, and it's doing everything but in some ways
Yeah.
to bring us
Yeah.
together.
That's, and that was like kind of like full circle thing, like you said, like where are
Mm.
we going to end up? Because it
Yeah.
kind of just keeps evolving, and each year
Mm.
it gets different, especially as they change the rules, and like then
Mm.
different people like buy certain things, and like then they change the rules, and it kind of just keeps changing. And
Yeah.
it's like who gets to choose what's our future really, because on between all of Meta's accounts, which is like Instagram, Facebook, and then they have the Quest and stuff like that, they have like almost half of the entire population of Earth that use it on a weekly basis. It was something
Mm.
like 3 billion and some change over
Wow.
every week. So that's not even just accounts, like that's just
Mm.
active people every week, and that's almost half of the world, the entire world, not just America, obviously. And that's just on their app. So that's like not, so if people that don't even have Instagram, Facebook, but use like Twitter or X or whatever, um,
Mm.
we're just all in it. So all these people, just kind of like all these big bucks, like corporations and stuff like that, they
Yeah.
kind of have, right now they're holding the steering wheel of our future, kind of by being able to choose what
Mm.
direction we go down, by the more they like every app, for instance, after TikTok blew up, now every app has short form content, and obviously short form content is kind of what sucks everybody in. And the
Mm.
the way that they market everything now, like even like commercials, nobody watches the 5 minute commercial on TV anymore. It's like you have
Yeah.
these 10-second ads that just shoot into your brain all day long. And it's just like stuff like that. It's kind of steering, especially I mean, I know I'm young, but like even the younger generation is so involved in it, and
Yeah.
I feel like we've
It's
never had a
tough.
time where all the generations are starting to now connect a little bit closer
Mm.
because they're all in the same space. It's not like back in the day, it was like, oh, the kids would be here, the adults would be here, but now it's like kind of
Mm.
everybody's starting to be pushed into one space.
Totally. Yeah, we're all on the same social
Yeah,
media for sure. Like I'm
yeah.
on Reddit all the time. And half the time I feel like I'm arguing with like 14-year-olds.
You
Um,
probably are.
it seems, yeah, it seems like it's trending young, and I'm like, it totally could be. Like there's really no reason that anybody can't just pretend to be anybody, or especially on Reddit where
Yeah,
it's anonymous, you don't have any like
for sure.
photos or anything or personal information. I completely agree. It's like we're homogenizing like cultures, not only between, ages, but just countries and people.
For sure.
So hopefully that's a good thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, it gets a little bit muddy because, like you said, you don't like on Reddit, for instance, you don't know
Yeah.
anything about anybody, so you don't even know if they're a real person
Yeah.
anymore. And then they,
Yeah.
on they said, I
Part of me
think,
likes that.
yeah, but
You know what I mean?
it might be the case that it's not even the fact that it's not a person, but it's something deceptive for somebody who's not smart enough, or not, maybe not even smart enough, but
Mm,
not
yeah.
educated enough on how these things work to realize that they're being led. astray. I mean, you get those stupid calls all
Yeah.
day long. I'm sure, just like me, I get them all day long on my phone where it'll be like, "Hello," and it's like obviously like some weird robot voice trying to like
Mm,
get you to do something, and I just
yeah.
you hang it up. But for the people that don't, or the same kind of people that yeah, they
Dude, when I
follow
had
around the most.
Photoshop when I was growing up,
Yeah,
I would engage in corruption. I would
yeah,
it's weird to frame it that way. I remember taking like a Disney World pass, scanning it in and
yeah.
writing in that I like a Florida address so that I could get a Florida resident pass at Disney World.
Wow. Yeah,
Okay, I modified the information. And that
yeah.
was kind of like a little bit of
That
corruption. But I
better
was a
days.
smart kid and I was able to do that. But nowadays, like with AI, anybody can really the tools people's disposal to engage in corruption, to lie. You could have a whole conversation on ChatGPT with somebody and be speaking in a more complicated language about something. You have no clue, right? You're arguing with somebody. You sound like you know what you're talking about. But like you said, ChatGPT could be wrong. And
Yeah,
so you're having an argument. You don't know anything about it. You sound like you know what you're talking about, but you don't even, and you're just like a middleman.
yeah.
So there's just a lot of opportunity
and
for
and that's just so common now too. And
bad
if you have enough,
conversation. Yeah.
if you have enough people that feel the same way as you, but
Mm,
maybe don't necessarily know. Like
mm,
again, I was watching that or listening to that podcast of Zelensky talk, and I feel like we all have a lot of opinions on other places in the
mm.
world. But we're not even there to actually know, so none of us really know, other than what's told to us. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a slippery slope of deception, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
yeah,
AI isn't going to fix our problems. It's
no,
only going to expose them
yeah,
and create, hopefully, a need for us to say, hey, it doesn't matter how fancy you talk, how much you sound like you know what you're talking about. It's important that we all use critical thinking to actually
yeah,
consider, is what ChatGPT is telling me right? Is what this person on Reddit who might be 14 years old and using ChatGPT to argue with me, are they right? Learning when to stop arguing about something that seems to be
yeah,
going nowhere because uh, you're just kind of wasting your time at that point. I think
yeah,
these skills are going to be even more important, and we can use the AI to help us, or it can be used as a weapon against us.
yeah.
You know,
So, in your opinion, if you
awesome.
could, from this point on, if you could just erase AI from our human existence, would you do it, or would you let it
Oh,
just keep
not at
going?
all. Dude, it's the
No.
most exciting thing.
Yeah.
I think, like, honestly, like, we were kind of bored. We, I know
Yeah.
the world is changing fast, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's shit, and it's like looks really scary for a lot of people. But like, we only live once. To some
Yeah.
degree, like, it's either an adventure or it's nothing. Like, do you really just want it to be boring all the time? Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some nuance to that. And there's a lot of things that I wouldn't want to have happen. I don't want people to get hurt and,
Yeah.
displaced obviously from, their homes and things like that. But
Yeah.
that aside, like some of the drama and like the scariness that doesn't necessarily always pan out, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's two sides of the coin. But, in terms of AI, uh, I don't know. I'm so interested to
Mm.
see what pans out because you don't know. There's an old story, an old fable that I bring it up from time to time. It's about like a farmer, Chinese farmer. I'm gonna read it to you really quick.
Yeah.
Um, so once upon a time there was a Chinese farmer whose horse ran away. And that evening all the neighbors came around and they all wanted to commiserate. They said, "We're so sorry to hear your horse ran away." And he said, maybe. And the next day, the horse came back and it brought seven horses with it. And in the evening, everybody said, "Oh, that's so lucky. What a great turn of events. You now have eight horses." The farmer said, "Maybe." And then the next day, his son tried to ride one of the horses. And while riding it, he was thrown off and he broke his leg. And the neighbor said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry about that." The farmer said, "Maybe." And then the next day, conscription officers came to get people into the army and they rejected the son because he had a broken leg. And all the neighbors came around and said, "Isn't that great?" And again, he said, "Maybe." Right. And it's in some ways that's kind of a storyline that I keep in mind throughout my life is just maybe, right? Like we
Yeah.
don't know, we can't
Yeah.
really judge in the moment. They say that life can only be understood backwards, right? Because we can't see what's going to happen next or
Mhm.
what this is going to mean, even if it looks bad, even if it's a bad
Yeah.
turn of events. In some ways, I've always said like maybe Trump will make America great again, right? Not necessarily in the way that he or his followers think, but
Right.
maybe because it exposes all of the flaws in the things that we don't do well or that we need to fix in order to kind of
Right.
protect ourselves from that kind of corruption. maybe that
I agree.
maybe
Yeah.
that brings out
And,
things about American culture that we didn't realize that we had, right?
yeah. And I agree. And it's like you said, hindsight is 2020. So it's hard to
Mm.
say this is how things are going to be or this is what's going to happen. It's like you got to let the cards fall where they do, and then you have to judge the
Yeah,
outcome that it had. But you can't judge what you think
yeah,
is going to happen or how great something is going to be, and whether you think everything is going to be great all of a sudden and it's like you wave a wand. I mean, things aren't that simple, and things don't really work like
yeah.
that. So,
and,
um,
and you can go up or
all,
down, and you can be
exactly.
dramatic your whole life, or you can just be even keel and just take it as it
Exactly.
comes.
And I think that's the best way to be. You can't let things affect you
Yeah,
too much. You can't be too excited when good things happen. You can't be too upset when bad things happen because, like you said, you never know if it's a good thing or a bad thing in the future. It could.
well, easy for you to say because
Yeah.
AI is not coming for your job anytime soon, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I am lucky in that regard.
I don't. I
But
mean, it could. They got
we
robots and stuff.
also, it seems like as humans, every I'd say century, we have something that seems like it's going to make us irrelevant, and we end
Mm,
up adapting and making ways for it to
sure.
work. So
You
I
know.
think it again, like the farmer story, is AI
Yeah.
bad? Maybe.
Yeah.
Is it
We don't
going to
know.
take people's jobs? Maybe. Are
But
those
either
people
way,
going
it'll
to be
take
okay?
us.
Maybe.
Progress isn't linear,
Yeah.
right? We can go up, we can go down, but we learn as long as we continue learning and
Yeah.
adapting. um, Sometimes we don't learn from history, and sometimes we need
We
to
definitely
keep.
don't. We
Sometimes we
definitely
need to
don't.
keep learning those lessons until,
Yeah.
or receiving those lessons until we
Yeah.
learn them. And eventually, after a few iterations, when we do, it makes all of that time worth it.
Yeah. I think
Getting
I think of
philosophical.
one interesting thing about history is that somehow we're not past war, that we still have wars is
Oh yeah.
crazy because of how far we've come. And it's
Mm,
like we don't learn anything from these past wars that we've had.
mm,
But I think, I mean, I don't know. You're hopeful. You got to be hopeful for the future. You always got to, stay
definitely.
positive. But the fact that we are still kind of in that state, or there's places all over the world that are still like you go into them and it feels like you transported it hundreds of years ago. So even though it might feel like we're living in a great time over here,
Mm.
there's places that it literally feels like it's the 1800s. So
And maybe they're living in a great time.
and maybe they're living in a great time. Maybe they love it. Like you go to
Mm.
Lancaster, they love it. The
Yeah,
Amish,
totally.
but it's the people that don't even know like this stuff exists. I think is the people that are either living in a harder time or they're living in an easier time because they don't got to worry about our first world problems. Like
Exactly. Like, there's
yeah,
really no reason why they can't be happy. I mean, happiness is an
yeah,
emotion that anybody can feel, right? There's no
yeah,
like, there's no we don't have a different happiness than they do.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. That's
Uh,
true.
it's 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 honestly, it's whatever your story and of your
We
life
might we
is.
might be happy because the new iPhone came out, but
Yeah,
they're happy that they just killed
yeah.
this boar and now they can eat.
We're more
Like
advanced,
the
but does
same
that
happy. Yeah,
actually make any difference? And in a way,
yeah,
like, if their culture has less conflict and war than ours, who's to say that they're not more advanced?
yeah.
Maybe they've
No,
learned lessons that we are distracted by other things that prevent us from that.
well, that's like the really interesting thing is like I don't know if you look into like the pyramids and stuff like that, but it's like a lot of people have these theories that they were actually more advanced than we are now, but in a different way. So like we went down more of a
Mm,
technology
yeah,
like technology way, but they could have been advanced in ways that we don't even
totally.
understand. And it's like if something happened to us right now, say something from outer space out of our control, or say, God forbid, like a nuclear kind of holocaust, we would have no evidence within 200 years that any of the stuff that we have even existed. And most of our stuff is kept on hard drives. So if for some reason that was obliterated and only a
Mhm.
few humans were left over, and then 300 years from now they repopulate it, they would have no idea that any of this stuff even existed. So who's to say we weren't already to this point where there was podcasts and computers and TVs and we were like that, and everything could have been like that, and then it get wiped away, and then it was
Well, you know about
again.
the Library of Alexandria, right?
No, no.
So the Library of Alexandria was a big, huge library that contained like a ton of information that got burned down. Let me just look this up real quick. So the Great Library of Alexandria was in Egypt. It was the largest and most significant libraries in the ancient world. Um,
Huh.
And the library dwindled during the Roman period. There was an imperial attack that destroyed the library. There was a whole thing.
Yeah,
It was like all of their knowledge from like so many years, and it basically just got burned to the ground.
yeah.
Um, and how many times over history could that have happened?
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. It's like, why does it feel like it's only been in the past 2000 that we've made so much of this leap?
Yeah,
And then not even from 2000, but then from 200 years ago, even it's like
but
almost
have we leaped?
impossible to believe. Yeah, I mean,
You
well,
know,
that's the thing. Yeah,
man,
like how much have
this
we
sounds like
leaped?
a great. This sounds like a great plot for an AI movie.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
it
somebody can
is.
write that. We can watch whatever AI thinks would happen.
It is so interesting
Uh,
though that if you went just 120 years ago now, people would have been riding horses on dirt roads in America. Like that's how it was still. And that's not even your grandparents would have known people
yeah,
that lived in that
dude,
time. You know what I
there's
mean?
brick roads outside of my apartment.
Right. Yeah, well,
You
Philly
know,
is a huge proponent of that old past living, or like even how the city streets feel like you're all closed in. But that's why
that's
cities
why.
were
Yeah,
so necessary too at that point.
I think AI actually is going to be a good thing. I think the
Yeah.
ability, for people just to ask questions and get generally easy to read answer that can be simplified and made more concise. Like even me trying to look up this Library of Alexandria, in a second and kind of skim through Wikipedia is not the
Yeah.
easiest thing to be able to get
Yeah.
information, and especially right with our shortened time ability to like focus, right? With
Yeah.
TikTok and everything like that. Like the ability
Yeah.
to get an answer quickly and actually understand things. I don't know, maybe it'll actually
and
help
and
us.
and I do agree. As a tool, I think it's good,
Yeah.
and especially because it can be formatted to each person. So it could even
Mm.
in the future might be able to learn exactly the way it's going to help you understand best whatever it is you're looking. And even now, like when you use Google and it does like the Google AI, like I think that's even pretty helpful where it just
It
pops up.
worries me though,
Even
the
yeah, go ahead.
privacy aspect of it.
Yeah,
Like I worry that like, especially right now, like ChatGPT is like a
they
commercial
already got
company.
us.
Like Apple's like, I mean, yeah, but like Apple's like supposedly private and stuff like that. But when you're
Yeah,
just giving all of your information to ChatGPT, some random like thing, and it's
yeah,
putting all this information together, there's like the idea that like, okay, there's so many people, there's so much information. Are they really caring about what you say? But like they're using AI too. They could literally just be like, hey, tell me XYZ about this guy, and
yeah.
it'll just
Oh,
tell them. It's really
for
easy. They don't
sure,
need to search through all that information.
for sure.
Um, you know, if I
They
decide to
and
run for president someday,
they got
Sam
you.
Altman can just pull up ChatGPT and be like, what are you
What was
asking these
Bob
dumb
like?
questions
Yeah,
for?
yeah. Tell me
And
all Bob's
believe me, I ask
secrets.
a lot of dumb questions.
Yeah,
Um, so it's really going to come down to society, I think, being just open, being vulnerable, and really in
yeah,
like accepting other people's humanity. And I think that's all part of it, right? Like there's a lot of people that don't want to hear what ChatGPT has to say. They think it's, left leaning or something like that. But like the reality is, it's generally pretty neutral. And like,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
you just, I don't know, it's informative if you use it that way.
yeah. And I agree. I think like you were saying, like that is a concern though, that it can be used in bad
I'm a little
ways
concerned with
too.
it.
And it's so funny because I remember seeing this thing that was saying like if we knew certain things that like we know now about technology, like back in the early 2000s, if you knew just like this certain kind of way to hack, you'd be able to hack into all the banks and all the government like facilities and all the codes because you know because they had weak points and we didn't know about the
Mm,
weak points. So it's like as we
mm,
learn and now we have things like firewalls and things to protect that and
yeah,
encryptions and like better like there's more skilled people that are on the good side than I guess the bad side, which is good. But we don't
yeah.
know all the weak points of that yet, and uh, that I guess I mean it can be
There's going to
slippery
be some
for sure,
breakage, but it'll
for
be worth
sure.
it maybe, because we have to
Maybe,
go through it to figure it out.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you got to break some things to like fix them,
yeah.
make them
You
stronger.
gotta crack a couple eggs to make an omelet. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
you got
But
me. Yeah,
yeah,
hate eggs.
yeah.
I'm not an egg guy. I don't care that eggs are going up in price because I don't like eggs.
Oh, that's a shame because I eat eggs every morning.
Oh, you're
It's
totally an
brutal.
egg guy. You
It
probably eat them raw.
kills me.
You're a
No, I couldn't.
bodybuilder.
I
You're just
couldn't.
you're just chugging
I
raw
try.
eggs.
No, you got to know how to make them. I think that's the main thing because eggs on their own, I agree, are a little bit gross. But you have to know how to make them. You do it like cheese
What are you
and
doing?
you do cheese,
Okay, if you had
meat,
cheese, okay.
spinach. You do
Ah, I hate
spices.
omelets. Ugh, the texture.
No,
Blech.
not omelets. Not omelets. You mix it
Okay,
up. You put
okay.
it on. You make it like a burrito. You put meat and stuff on it.
Okay, now we're
It's
talking
good.
my
It's
language.
good. It's good as like a add it. Like you wouldn't just eat mashed potatoes like as a meal. You know what I mean? That wouldn't be good
I
either.
have.
you know.
I'd rather eat
Well, I
mashed
guess if you
potatoes and
have
eggs.
wisdom teeth or something, like,
No,
but
I
I don't
with
know.
gravy and like bacon
Well,
from
that's true. That's good.
Popeyes. I don't know
But
what they put
still,
in
it's
it. It's like
always better.
crack.
It's always better with something. I feel like, and I feel like
Yeah,
the same with
definitely
eggs.
not by themselves.
Yeah, you can't eat by
Yeah, I like an
themselves.
egg. I can
But
do an egg burrito or like on a sandwich. Sorry, I know I'm
yeah,
going off the rails here, but I hate eggs. No, no offense to
you
the egg industry. Like I'm gonna get shut
we,
down.
we
Big
got to
Egg's
get
gonna
you.
come after the Bob seat.
We got to get you some good eggs, maybe. Maybe that's all.
I don't think so.
You just got to
Uh,
meet the right egg. you just gotta be, you're
you know what?
traumatized
I
about
do like.
eggs.
I like can do like a hard boiled egg.
Yeah,
Or what's the
do
one
a
with
deviled
the
egg.
mustard and the I can do
Deviled.
deviled eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, no, I take it back. Because it's so
Sometimes
weird
those
because you got the
sometimes
different
those freak me out a little
textures.
bit.
You got the
Yeah,
mashy texture and then you got the slimy texture.
sometimes it's okay. It depends on
I can
who's making them. I think
I can
that's
do a
it
hard
too.
boiled when you like roll it in salt, so it's kind of like it's not as
Yeah,
slimy. The salt kind of like breaks it up a
when
little
you
bit.
with peppers and stuff, that's really good too. Like the yellow peppers, you crunch them up and
Are we
put
still
them in
talking about
there.
eggs? Hard
Yeah,
boiled
you put them
eggs?
not
In a
hard
pepper?
boiled, but
No,
yeah,
not hard
not
boiled.
not hard boiled. You like scramble them. You put the meat and
Yeah.
everything in. You put the peppers in. It makes it like crunchy. It's good. It's good. And you do
Yeah.
more white than yolk because sometimes the yolk can be a little bit runny.
I like yolk.
Yeah,
Well, I like it
the yolk.
cooked. I
Yeah,
like it cooked. Yeah,
the
it's
yolk.
I don't know.
Sometimes the yolk gets me if it's
I
not
like
right.
cookies though.
It
You can't
does
make
that.
cookies without eggs.
That's true. There's a lot of things you can't make without eggs.
I know.
Mostly all
Yeah.
baking things you can't make without
If
eggs.
I can't taste it, I'm fine.
yeah.
I don't
Well,
want
there's
to.
a lot of ways to disguise it, but the price of
Yeah,
them is ridiculous. We
isn't it?
went to go pick up a carton from ShopRite, and the organic ones were cheaper than the normal ones, like the normal
Really?
processed ones. They were $7.99 for a normal 12 pack of just
Wow.
like the basic eggs,
Why are they
and then the
more expensive
I
than
don't know. And then the
organic?
organic eggs,
That's
which
so
were like
odd.
locally farmed or something, it was like four
Yeah,
dollars and like
so
fifty
wild.
cents a box. So I was like, well, obviously go we'll go for the organic over the
Were they
mass
like a
produced
different color
ones.
or something?
Yeah, they were
Were they like
brown.
spotty or
No,
yeah?
they were
You're
actually
like,
like
no, no,
all
I need my
very
traditional looking eggs. No brown
yeah,
eggs.
right. Why would it? Yeah, exactly. They feel like they're gonna get
People are
them or
so
something.
weird.
Yeah,
Looking up
honestly, that
ChatGPT, is
makes me
this
feel
normal? Why is my eggs brown?
yeah. makes me feel better if things are kind of a
Yeah.
little bit out of place. Like how we were saying about AI and everything's a little bit
Yeah.
too perfect. When food's a little
Yeah.
bit too perfect, that means it's
Yeah.
probably deadly in some
Yeah.
capacity. Just
That's
like
fair.
how we have all
Red
like
delicious
the
apples.
dyes and stuff that make our drinks look a certain way, and all the other
Oh
like
yeah.
countries have them banned, and we're like, nah, give us
Yeah.
all the
Mountain
dye.
Dew,
We want it to
totally
look.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, we want it to look
No
cool.
worries.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd rather it not look cool. That means it's
Yeah.
probably better for you.
I know. We're
Yeah,
we're getting there. Some of us are getting there, but some of us are just holding on to just tradition, right? But we need
yeah,
both
I
sides of the
guess so.
coin, I guess. You
I
know,
guess so.
you need the Amish to show us that maybe that there's some happiness in not, going full
Yeah,
on Mountain Dew with your
yeah.
drinks, you know.
They could. I
Well,
bet they could slam a Mountain Dew. They'd be like, this is pretty good, actually.
that's I would love to we need ChatGPT to like create that image of an
Yeah,
Amish guy
just,
slamming a
just
Mountain Dew.
yeah. That'll be the next background for the
I've been
meeting.
meaning to get out there,
Yeah.
visit
I,
the Amish towns.
have you been out in Lancaster?
My parents took me out as when I was a kid.
Yeah, we used to go every single year,
Yeah.
and
Really?
there was yeah, there was this one place that was like they would do like not a buffet. It was like you would sit at a big awesome wooden table and like this like kind of
Yeah.
barn cabin thing, and they would just bring you unlimited food. So I guess it was
Yeah.
technically a buffet, but it was like a
Yeah, I've heard
nice
about
one.
that. They
You
have
know
a
what I mean?
great buffet out there. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
So it was great, and then as I got older, kind of started like how things go. It
You're
kind of
not a
got
buffet guy?
well, it just got less. It just got less good. It kind of became a little bit more,
Oh,
you
really?
know, became more a little more chintzy, a little bit more mainstream. And
Uh,
then instead of getting this beautiful like food, you're getting like heated microwave
you
dinners.
know what
You
it
know what I
is?
mean?
It's
And
that
you're like, what's
capitalistic
happening?
influence
Yeah,
that's like, oh,
yeah,
wait, I see what they're doing over at Old
yeah,
Town Buffet. Why
yeah,
are we charging, so little? We need to charge more and reduce the quality. Yeah,
yeah.
Americans
And
like
that
this.
that happens a lot, and I feel like it's been happening more and more as far
A
as
lot of
quality and things slipping.
a lot of good furniture makers
Yeah,
out there, huh? So
yeah.
probably
Actually,
inspirational to go see some of
our
that.
for sure our kitchen table is actually made from Amish, and
You didn't make it? You
um,
didn't make everything
you
that
would
you
think
own? All the furniture?
so. This
That'd be pretty
one,
cool.
actually, I am going to resurface it. We have a sawmill, so I can do some of that stuff, but
Wait,
we're
you
going
have
to
a
take it out.
sawmill? Isn't that
Yeah,
like a big
so yeah,
thing?
so you take logs essentially, and then the mill is basically like a big blade that runs, and it will cut the logs into boards,
Is
and
this
then
like in
you
your
like
backyard or
slab
something?
flatteners. No, we have a designated like yard for it. It's 2 acres in Collingswood, actually, if you can believe it.
Oh, for your
On a
company?
not through mine, my dad's.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, so we have 2 acres out in Collingswood, which is the only 2 acres in Collingswood because it's a very
Wow.
town-sized
It's so
town,
small.
you
Yeah, that's
know?
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and well, it's just all slabs of wood, all variations in
Mm.
in types. That's where that locust branch that I gave you came from. Um,
Yeah.
but we have all variations of types of trees. But anyway, so we have a lot of ability to rework things, and the Amish is a big inspiration. And actually,
Yeah.
because we have
Mm.
a new school sawmill, which is how they make everything now, which is it's basically a band. It's a band
Yeah.
saw, so it's a saw blade that's on a big band, and it just spins in a circle essentially, and it cuts through. It can cut through a bunch of different sizes because it can just make itself smaller or bigger depending
Mm.
on what you're cutting.
Wow.
And but the Amish, they have an old school sawmill, and an old
Mm.
school sawmill is basically a giant circular blade, just like a just like how
Sure.
you would have like a normal circular saw, but it's a
Like in the
giant
movie
version.
Saw.
Well, so yeah, right.
I
The
don't know.
saw.
I'm just making
No,
fun of
I'm thinking.
me.
I was thinking Texas Chainsaw
I'm
for a
not
minute,
around wood a
but
lot. That's like
no,
there's
yeah,
there's only so
yeah, and it's
many
just a
references I
circular
have to
saw.
giant saws.
So it's basically a giant
I
saw
feel you.
blade,
Yeah. Gotcha.
and so they leave different marks on the wood depending
Oh.
on what you're cutting it with. Because if you're cutting
Mm.
it with a band, you get a little bit of chatter, which is what we have, and
Sure.
it's just you just get some
Chatter.
chatter marks, and then you would sand those out. Um, but from the Amish, it's almost like because it's such an old school thing, you want to keep the chatter marks that the
Yeah.
Amish give because it's these circular mill marks because it's from this giant circular
Mm.
blade that leaves this kind of cool impression in the wood because you know how it was made, and that kind of gives a little
Yeah.
bit more context to it and like a little bit more history of where it comes from. So you don't really want to get rid of it. And
Mm.
now all mills are mostly band saws now, so you kind of want to get rid of that chatter. But the Amish have this old school mill that makes these cool circular cuts, so you'd want to keep it.
I
Um,
mean, isn't that like AI, right? And isn't that like our art, right? We're talking about,
exactly.
wanting to keep the chatter, right,
Yeah.
in our movies and in our
Yeah.
music. These like old school artifacts essentially that just kind of uh have like our humanity, right? And the history,
Yeah.
right?
And
That
honestly, you
created that information in the first
you
place.
you feel it so much more in these pieces. Like
Mm,
if you go to like Home Goods and you see a piece of wood and it's made to
mm.
look beat up and old, there's something that just feels so fake about. I mean, it is
Yeah,
fake, and you
yeah.
can feel it,
That's the
and
AI version of it.
yeah, exactly. I definitely think
Mm,
that's a definitely a good comparison. Um, I try like for
mm.
me, I love all the old school wood. Like even I have a shelf up
Yeah.
here, and it was just basically a post that sat in the ground for a bunch of years, and it got bleached from the sun, so it turned essentially gray, and it's got all this really deep
Cool.
wood grain from it because it had UV rays beat it up all over these years,
Yeah.
and so the grain started to thicken, and now it's got this really nice texture to it, and that's just something you can't really replicate.
Got
um
real history,
yeah, yeah,
you
and
know?
something about that is really cool. um
You know, yeah.
Preserving
You
stuff
can't,
like that.
it's a difference between climbing up Mount Everest and flying to the top of Mount Everest, right? There, you can't replace actual history. You can't get somebody else to lift the weights for you, right?
Yeah.
You can't just grow muscles overnight, right? Like that stuff takes time. Same thing
Yeah.
with AI. You can't just become a human overnight because you were programmed by other humans
Right.
who actually had lives that they lived. The only way to actually get that, right? The only way to actually develop a true like artificial intelligence is to create a baby version of it and have it
And let it grow.
live a life in the environment that other humans live, but it really can't because it won't have all of the limitations that humans have. So in theory, like it's really impossible to have a true humanistic artificial intelligence. It will always be, if it imitates us in any way, if it looks anything like us, it will be an imitation and not an actual true development.
Yeah. No, for sure. And it is interesting. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know how true it is either. But like those Tesla bot things too. Those are real weird. Did you see those?
What's a Tesla
You didn't
bot?
see?
No,
You
what's
didn't see
that?
those? Okay,
Yeah.
that was really
Maybe I
weird.
have, I don't know. What is it?
I'll have to send you some of that. I mean, if you could type it
Like
up,
robots and stuff?
yeah.
Yeah.
But they're. I mean, listen. I'm sure they were assisted in some way, but they have like AI voices and they communicate and talk and they move really realistically and weird. That was
Uh,
pretty interesting. And I was like deep diving on it. I'm sure they were somewhat assisted or at least made sure that they did what they're supposed to, but it was
yeah.
very interesting. People just got to interact with them. They had like a just basically like a test meeting where a bunch of people just were able to come and they were just like able to like mingle in the crowd and people could ask them things. And it's really weird because they gave them realistic voices and they have this realistic movement. They were like bartending, and then it was like, "Hey man, what can I get you?" And that was the robot talking. You
Yeah.
have to watch it, and we got to talk about that too because that was pretty interesting, and that's something they are saying is going to be relatively near future stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up here. I'm seeing this
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
when
There
was this
was
from?
let's see. There it was real recently that they did. So 2024 is what we would probably want to see. Because it was only
I mean,
like, yeah,
this is
that's
kind of
not it.
crazy. That's not it.
Yeah, no, that's not even crazy. You got to see this. Let's see. Just do. Let's see. Go right. Tesla bot in public.
2024.
Yeah, 2024. because
Footage and
they are
Optimus.
Optimus. Yeah, is that what it is?
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hold on.
you got to see it in the
Okay.
crowd though. This is just like a walking test.
What is this going on?
They were actually right bartending. That's perfect because that's what it was doing. It's bartending for people. It's got like
Okay.
a
Let's see.
cowboy hat on. It's
What's the
talking to
bot?
people. This was like a big thing everybody was talking about for like I don't know, 2 weeks.
Okay. Oh,
There we
wow.
go.
Okay.
You got to see the videos. Here's good. We got voices and stuff too. We got to be able to hear that.
I'm trying to.
Let me see if I can
Oh,
find it.
wow.
If I knew how to. If I knew how to share my screen. Hold on.
I mean, it's just crazy that, like, it's basically implementing the ChatGPT voice kind of thing in like a humanoid robot.
Yeah, right. The first I wrote Tesla robot bartending. The first thing that comes up is like the
Oh,
YouTube
that
thing.
wasn't it.
Um, it's kind of it.
Okay.
That's like it's like, but you got to hear the voice is just like a
Yeah, no, I
person
heard the voice.
speaking. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It
The
sounded just like the
the
ChatGPT
was it the
voice.
bartender one? Yeah, it wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I couldn't say. And then somebody else
Yeah.
is like just asking him. There's one. I think it's this one. I wish I could just show my screen.
You can't share? Just hit share.
I don't know how I do that. Where
So,
do I?
so, so click the share button at the bottom of the
Share
screen.
screen. Right, I see. I see. Okay. Can you see what I'm saying?
But do not.
Okay. That's. Oh wait. Uh, Chrome tab. Oh well. I have no idea. It's like tab share. Okay.
You sure it's not this one?
There we go. Hold on.
Can I have a Corona? What? You gotta be.
Hold on. Let me see what you're saying. Oh wait, can you see? Can you see my screen? Hold on. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good.
What's the, I'll figure it
It's
out
all
some
good.
other time. But
It's all
I'll just like text you them later because there's a lot of videos and there's a lot of different like tests that they were having them do, and just watching their hands and stuff articulate is really kind of wild. Um, and then they were talking about like pricing for them, and they're gonna like start out as like at like 30 grand or something.
Yeah, he's like waving his like hand. He's like handing like
Yeah, and like
drinks
they
to
can
some.
just ask for whatever drink and it'll pull it off the
Yeah, just
tap.
like this
Yeah,
this alone is like so like interesting. Like he's actually handing people drinks. Like
yeah,
this guy's gonna take your job, dude.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
But I mean, like things like that. I don't know. It would be hard to take my job because it's gonna have to be able to jump up and down off its knees and stuff and like
I
get
mean, you've
down.
seen
I
like
mean,
some of those robots, right? What was that
yeah.
company that does all the robots? They're
Oh yeah,
jumping, they're doing like
Boston Dynamics.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you start integrating these like the
I
physical
mean, like,
robot and then the
especially if they become affordable as they say they're going to be. Like, apparently, it's going to start out as like
yeah,
$30,000 or something like that. You could have
yeah.
pay 30 grand for something that does everything for you. You know what I
I
mean?
mean,
Like,
a computer, right, that like had the memory size of probably like a floppy disk cost
yeah,
that like when the first one came out.
exactly. So,
10
and then
years later it was a whole different game.
they were showing like the charging stations for them. They basically like sleep standing up. And they have like a
Creepy.
10 hour. They have like a 10-hour battery life or something like that. So it's
Think about
basically
it this, yeah, but
almost a
think about
full
it this way,
day.
Max. We started off talking a lot about how as advanced as we are, we still have war, right? But like, what
Yeah.
if AI can replace soldiers?
It, it
What's
already
the point
can.
then, though?
It already
What's
can.
what's
Think it.
what's the point if
The
you're not killing people? Then what's the point of
Yeah.
soldiers battling each other? You have drones now.
Well,
I
that's
don't know.
that's that's what I was gonna say. It's like they were.
Yeah.
You could program a drone to facial recognize somebody and
Yeah.
basically suicide bomb them. Just fly right into them with a bomb payload on it. and they talked about that, and that's basically what happened with the leader of Hamas. He got
Mm.
drone striked, but not
Yeah.
suicide bomb drone, like just carpet bombing drone. But they could have
But that's
ones that are
military
precise.
intelligence.
Yeah, they could have ones that are just precise that fly in,
Yeah.
face ID everybody, say that's the guy
Yeah.
I have to kill, and just fly into them. Like
And it
we
will be
already can do.
consumer available.
We can do that right
Um,
now, though. Like that's crazy.
yeah.
I have
And
even
yeah.
right next to me. I have a $1,200 drone that theoretically you could not, but you could do that, and
Mm.
this thing is from 2016, and it can
Wow.
even
It's kind of
it can
wild.
track me, and it can follow my car, and I don't even have to do anything. And
Oh my
that was at
God.
that autonomous at that time, and I could
Yeah.
fly it to be 1,000 feet in the air or whatever, so it's
Yeah. We got to
totally
fly it over
undetectable.
Lancaster and just
Yeah,
start
and I'd be like,
broadcasting.
oh my god.
Hey,
It would be like how
you
we were
there in the
looking at
top
the
hat.
yeah, yeah, they
Give
would
me all
be
your furniture.
they'd be mind blown. Be like, well, like even we had those big drones flying over here. Did you hear about that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty
But people are
new
always
too.
people are like, "Oh, is this aliens?" Like, no, dude. Like everybody and their mom has this thing now. Okay,
Yeah,
just relax. This is the new normal, right? This is
yeah,
where we're
but they're as
at.
big as they're like as big as a car though. So it's like, whose mom
I mean,
has one as big as a car? Yeah,
I
not
mean
that I
that
think it
costs
was
what
an. I don't think it was an
1,200,
alien.
but for 10,000, what
Yeah,
could you buy?
yeah, yeah.
Twenty
Well,
thousand,
like
what could you
so,
buy?
like police and like firefighters and stuff like that departments have from the same brand that makes that, which is DJI. They
Yeah,
make one that's like 30 grand or something like that,
yeah,
and it's a little bit bigger, but it's like capabilities as far as like thermal imaging and stuff like that are more advanced. And so that's what 30 grand gets you is more advanced like imaging systems, and I'm sure a little bit more like autonomy, where it can they could circle it around and just have it like look for specific things. But I mean, each year we get like so much further, except for the iPhones
yeah.
for some reason. Those are like stuck in like one
I
year
know.
for
Like, what
some
is
reason.
AI
Yeah.
on the phone? Yeah, it's not really making much progress yet. But I don't know,
Remember,
dude. I'm happy with ChatGPT for now. Like, I don't. It's pretty
yeah.
for me.
I
That's
think
like a kid in a magic shop.
maybe that's what makes it harder for Apple to advance, is because
Mm,
most things that are advancing are software. So they can't really they
mm.
can keep trying to make a camera better, but like that's not going to impress anybody really anymore. I mean, the gimbal was pretty. They put the gimbal inside like newer cameras, and I think
Yeah.
that's a little bit cool. But
It's harder
it's
to
not.
impress us
It's
these
not.
days,
Yeah, for sure.
Technology's moving so fast. It's like we're like, oh,
Yeah, we did
who
have some pretty
cares?
big. I feel like think
3,000
about
megapixels?
yeah,
Who
think about
cares?
the leap between an iPhone
Yeah.
5 to an iPhone 10 versus an
Yeah.
iPhone, which would be an X, versus an iPhone X to an iPhone
Yeah.
15. They're like
Yeah.
I still have an iPhone XR, and
Yeah.
that gets me by fine. But if I had an iPhone 5, I would be in the dust,
The
So
technology is in some ways improving faster than we actually have a need for it. Right?
yeah,
Like you're
I
perfectly
agree.
fine on the XR. Like you can access ChatGPT. You don't necessarily
Yeah,
need, all these
I don't need a
fancy little things.
computer like a,
It's
a
all
high end
marketing at this
computer
point.
processor.
Like, what do
Yeah,
we really need, right, to make us happy? Nobody knows. Not even Apple knows.
love. We need
But
love, and they can give us that.
maybe the Amish know, right? And that's why I'm going. I'm on an expedition to find true happiness that they appear to have. And it's not going to be in eggs, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it may be in the chatter between the pieces of wood.
All you got to do is shave that mustache. You'll blend right in. Keep the bottom
Why do you
half
think
of
it's
your
getting too
ears.
long?
No, to the Amish. You shave
No,
this
okay.
part. You keep this. That
Oh,
means
okay.
you're married.
Oh yeah.
You bring Kayla with you.
Yeah, I
You
look,
bring.
yeah, I agree. Like like no offense to anybody who like has a shorter mustache with the beard, but like I think you got to kind of keep it relatively even, right? If you get
Yeah,
and the problem is like you can't have the mustache get too long because then it starts getting over your like face. So for me, this kind of like works out
curl it up.
perfect. But
You got to
I
start curling it up.
understand it. Dude, maybe they know the secret to life. Who am I to judge about, the no mustache? It looks weird, but that doesn't, but they can eat, right, anything that they want and don't have to worry about it getting all up in here. Like I can't
Maybe
even
that's
eat a
why they,
burrito.
yeah,
Uh, but it's all because of my vanity and not because of, my actual happiness.
yeah. What if you can't grow a beard? You can't get married? Is that an Amish rule?
I think all of them
I
can
can't
grow a
really, I
beard.
can't, I can't really grow a
Amish
beard.
people, but you're in a different world, I think when you're
Yeah,
there, that's a good question though. I don't know. I should bring an Amish
it's
person
like
onto this
can't get married,
podcast
or
and ask
you
them.
just gotta grow what you can grow, and that's it.
Could you imagine like it doesn't connect or something, and then like you're just like
Yeah,
an
they're like,
outcast forever?
you're not allowed to be married.
You
Sorry.
just can make furniture. You're just a furniture guy now
Yeah,
by yourself
you just have to
forever.
stay there with your bowl cut. That's
But
it.
maybe he'll still be happy because maybe, they found a way to be happy in
Dude,
loneliness.
they make a lot of money too. I mean, they
Do
give it
they?
all to their church. Yeah, they make a lot of money. If you buy
Yeah.
anything from the Amish, like
Oh
even
yeah, it is
jams
expensive. Yeah.
or woodworking or anything,
Yeah.
they
They
make
know
a
their
lot of money.
worth. They know what they got.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is, it goes to like their church, so they don't really like see much of it, but they make a lot. That's why they're out there hustling all the time, especially in Lancaster, selling jams and stuff.
That's how they
Like,
fended us off. They're like, we don't need your money,
yeah,
bro.
they don't, and they don't
We're
gotta pay
good.
taxes either. So there's like
Wow.
they're just rolling it. Maybe that's why they're
Yeah, well,
happy.
for now,
Yeah,
we gotta go to
we'll
the
get.
Amish. We they not paying enough taxes.
They're not paying enough taxes. We gotta get the Amish because you know the Amish they got all
There's
the
so much
money.
money. They're taking all of our money for their furniture.
And
It'll
they
happen.
are.
We'll see. But maybe I don't know.
We'll
We
see.
got to get an Amish guy on this podcast and
Yeah,
figure out what's really
yeah.
going
Well,
on.
actually, I don't know how much it counts, but like I have neighbors down in Wildwood who are
Yeah.
Mennonites, which is like
Okay.
Amish, but they're
Cool.
like their house. The only thing that's weird is their house. Like they just have this creepy old house. Like on the inside, when you're walking by, you're like, oh, that's they live in the 1800s. But other than that, they have like cell phones and stuff.
Wait, it's creepy on the inside,
Yeah, it's creepy on the inside. The outside is that's fine, it's just like another house. But like the
but when you go
inside is
in, what
like
does it look like?
it's got like so they got like well they're older people too, so maybe that hurts their case a little bit. But they got like these
Okay.
old like kind of like not black and white, but like where the black and white is kind of like yellowed, so it's kind of like old. It's like where
Black and
every
yellow.
yeah yeah, but you know where it's like pictures that used to be taken on like tin. You know when pictures used to be made with like silver and stuff, like when they
Sure.
would capture it and like that. It was like that.
Oh
It's like
wow.
that. Yeah, it's like old pictures and stuff like that. And then the walls are like kind of like that wood I was talking about, where it's like the chatter mark kind of wood, but it's just like it's like separated boards. It's not like tongue and groove.
Mm.
And that's like kind of on their whole wall. And also they don't have air conditioning or heat, and they're down there all summer. So I'm like, ugh.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big house too, like relatively. But yeah,
Yeah, in
I don't know
that,
how they do
in
it.
that situation, yeah, like, look, I get it. Like, you want to stay old school. You want to have like those nice, like historical things, but like,
Yeah,
I feel like
have air
not
conditioning at
not
least,
having air
fan or
conditioning
something. Have
is
a
just
fan or something.
like
Like,
we've worked so hard as humankind to get to the point where we could have a comfortable temperature around us,
yeah,
and they're just like,
yeah. I
nah,
don't. I am interested. I mean, I don't know enough to be able to
yeah,
comment about it. I guess,
sure,
but
yeah,
I'm definitely interested in what makes it against the religion to just be involved a little bit more because they're using horses and they're using things that they made, so they're using tools. So what's the difference about the tools that they're using versus just using some more modern tools to make their life a little bit easier, like an air conditioner or a heater? Like instead of you having to, I mean, I guess it's because you use outside help in a way. I guess maybe that's why, but I don't know. It's interesting. But if you're a Mennonite, you do use phones and you use cars, and that's kind of how they are. They use phones and cars and
mm,
they talk normal. And he was like a Marine or something, so I think it's his wife that would made him a Mennonite. But
interesting. It's like an
yeah,
evolution
yeah,
in
it's a
some ways.
religion just like anything. So I guess you can kind of fall into it. Like
The
if we
only thing
wanted
I
to, we could
know,
become it right now.
could we? I mean, I
I
guess if
think
we gave
so.
up all of our technology, why not?
Yeah. I think so.
The only thing I know about Amish is the Weird Al song.
Which one?
Um, why is it not coming to me? What is it?
Because I like Weird Al. I can't think.
Oh, the Amish Paradise.
I don't think I
You
heard
know, you
that.
never heard that? Oh, it's
I don't
probably
think
before your
so.
time. Oh, dude, it's
Might have
a.
been.
I'm not gonna play
Actually,
it for
did
the
you
moment.
see? Yeah, did you see Harry Potter played him in a movie recently? He played Weird Al.
Oh, played Weird Al? No, I didn't watch that. Was it
Yeah,
good?
yeah, it was good. It was funny. You gotta watch
Yeah.
that.
You
Yeah,
you're a Weird Al fan.
I like Weird Al. I wouldn't call myself a fan. I would, but I do. I definitely like
I
Weird
used to
Al.
buy all his albums. I was really into
Yeah,
it. I like the polka
yeah,
stuff. Like he's actually a really good songwriter.
yeah. Oh my god,
Um,
yeah, yeah, for
I'm
sure.
gonna read you a few. I'm gonna read you a few lines here from the beginning
Yeah,
of the
definitely.
song, just to give you a little teaser. As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain. But that's just perfect for an Amish like me. You know, I shun fancy things like electricity. At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows. Jebediah feeds the chickens, and Jacob plows. Cool. And I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man of the land. I'm into discipline. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. But if I finish all of my chores and you finish thine, then tonight we're going to party like it's 1699. This is uh this is a parody of
I'd
Gangsta's
love to.
Paradise.
I'd love to hear you sing that at a karaoke bar. The whole thing from beginning to
I would probably recite it just like
end,
that.
just like that.
Um,
You gotta watch it a few times.
it's so informative. Like he was actually like educational in some of his songs,
Yeah,
but it allowed you to hear the lyrics and like actually listen because you're already familiar with the melody, right? So you're not having
yeah,
to kind of like listen to that at the same time. It's an
yeah.
interesting thing,
True.
but didn't
His,
pick up enough
I
traction.
remember the one that popped off for me when I was a kid was White and Nerdy. That one was really funny. You ever heard White and Nerdy by him?
Um,
There's too white and nerdy.
I've heard it. I haven't
Yeah,
really like
that one. I remember that one was like deeply ingrained in my childhood. Probably that's probably the most I would say.
the they see me mowing my front lawn. I know they're
Because
all
it's supposed
thinking
to be.
I'm so white and nerdy,
Because it's supposed
right?
to be. They see me rolling. They hate
Yeah.
me. That one. Yeah. It
First
gets
in my
old.
class here at MIT, got skills. I'm a champion of D&D. Of course you like it. MC
Mhm.
Escher, that's my favorite MC. Keep your 40. I'll just have an Earl Grey tea. Um,
There you go.
I guess I'm the king
They got you too.
of I mean, yeah, this is probably why I didn't watch it because it's or listen to it because it's a little bit too close to home.
Yeah.
But I'm
All
gonna check it out.
I don't know.
There's so much I haven't listened to. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I know another thing that a lot of people don't like because a lot of people don't like him. But another thing a lot of people don't like that I like, and I'm pretty sure you like too, is I think you should leave that show
Oh
from
yeah.
Netflix, dude.
Yeah.
That it's
You're hitting
like
all my favorite shows here.
that
Breaking
ingrained.
Bad. We didn't
Yeah,
touch that one, but I'm sure you like that. You know,
yeah.
there's a
Breaking
lot of
Bad I've
overlap
seen
here.
4 times all the way through. That's the
Dude,
only
I've
show
probably
I've
seen
seen.
more.
That's the only show I've
Yeah.
seen that many
There's
times.
not a lot of shows out. Like you hit all of them. I also really
Breaking
like the
Breaking
little.
Bad is the only show too that I feel like every single season, not only does the production quality get better, but the story gets better and everything, and it never overstayed its welcome. It was never like, "Ugh, we're doing
Totally.
this again, we're doing
Except the
this
Fly
again."
episode.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know
The
about the
Fly.
Fly
Yeah,
episode.
that was only the only episode that feels like filler is the Fly. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
Beautiful
yeah,
show. You know, I think to me, I don't know what it is. Clearly I'm not the greatest actor in the world. Anytime I've been in a show, it's mostly I feel like been like the singing that's got me the part.
yeah,
Um, but something about like a good actor is what I need in this show. I feel like all these shows we're talking about all have like really
yeah,
good acting.
yeah,
Anytime like I can like see, especially kind of like on some of these like free networks or like like these little offhanded things that some people can just get like into the drama can just like easily get sucked in. If it's bad acting, like
yeah.
I don't
Me
even
too.
want it,
I make
you
fun of
know?
it all the time.
Man,
Yeah,
it throws me. That's why I can't like really get into most movies, but it's probably because I'm not looking hard enough for good ones, right? I'm just like,
it's
it's too
it's
hard.
so insane that Bryan Cranston went from the
Yeah,
silly Malcolm in the Middle to that, and like it was just like he just fell
huge
right into it,
range.
and it just felt so
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, it was great.
yeah.
And he was in another show that was pretty
Mm.
good, and it was called Your Honor. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh no,
Um,
it was good.
yeah, it was like he did good in that too, and he's a great actor. But there was something about him being Walter in that show
Yeah,
that's just like you
man, he
can't,
pulled it off so
you
much.
could, yeah, you just could, like it's just like he just was him, and he's
Yeah,
better as Walter than he is as himself in real life. Like
yeah,
he's, I can almost feel him being more disingenuous in his real life in what he's saying
totally.
versus as
Yeah,
Walter
I
White.
agree.
I feel it more, yeah, which is
Yeah,
insane because that's like just,
yeah.
I don't think I can,
Jesse
I can't think of any other actor that feels like that to me.
Jesse was good too, but
Yeah,
like in some ways he kind of feels like when you see like him in his like Instagram stuff or whatever, it kind of seems like it's almost like him. Like it's a kind of an
yeah,
extension of him.
for sure.
It's obviously different than Bryan Cranston. Like that's not him. But like you
Yeah.
said, it just
Oh
seems
yeah,
so
big time, big
natural
time.
for him.
Yeah.
He's just such a great actor, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And he's just like a, especially like I don't know. He's just like a sillier person in real life than he is as Walter. But just even when
Yeah,
he's like lying in the show and he's like he's trying to tell somebody like when he got gas
yeah.
all over his clothes and he's like, you know, the thing of it was I pulled out the pump and it
I
just
know exactly what you
spewed all
talking
over
about.
me.
And then she
Yeah,
like
and it was
walked
like,
out. Yeah.
yeah, it should have walked out. Like that was just like even that stuff is just like perfect. Yeah.
You're making me want to watch
But
it again.
I know. I could. I think I could. I think I could go for it again. It's been a few
I
years
actually
since I've
watched Squid
watched it.
Game again. So I watched the second season when it came
Yeah.
out, and then I watched the first season again, and then I watched the second season again. It's
Yeah.
really, I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of those actors obviously in like other things. I'm not a big on Korean drama just in general, but
Yeah.
from what I read online, like, a lot of those actors have quite the range too, and have been in
Yeah.
some other things. And just incredible, really incredible acting
Yeah.
on that one too.
The main guy from Squid Games. I actually don't even know his name. What is his name in Squid Games? Just player
Uh,
450 something.
uh, something Jung Jae, something
Right. Well,
Jung
he's in
Jae.
like Star Wars and stuff now too. Like he's in like the Skeleton Crew show on like
Yeah,
Disney. So,
he's
so he's even,
fantastic.
so he's so, he's got so much range that he's even catching, you know,
Yeah,
American roles now, which is like you're not going to catch an American getting Korean roles. You know what I mean? So that's pretty impressive
totally.
too.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he definitely has like that kind of, you know, main character energy for sure. But
totally.
yeah,
I mean, it's yeah.
I haven't finished season 2 yet, so
You haven't finished
it's
it. Well, it's
almost,
not. Nobody
yeah.
has because it's not out yet.
Oh yeah, that's what yeah, right. It's got a
Yeah, it's
continuation.
only got
I'm
seven
on,
episodes.
yeah, I'm only on episode 3 of season 2.
Dude, what are you waiting for?
And
What are you
I
doing?
know I gotta finish it. Maybe
Making
tonight.
too much wood.
I'm
Making too much furniture over
just
there.
so busy all the time. That's the thing. It's like I get like right now I got, there's a house and it's about to go up on the market. So it's like every day I have to work on it so that it can make this market time.
Mm,
And then before that, my brother-in-law has a pretty well-known barbershop, and he's opening the second barbershop.
mm,
So we're actually still working on that, but I had to make sure all the main renovation parts were all done. But now we have to like do skateboard stuff. So
mm.
yeah, anytime I want to catch a break, it's like I can't. Like I'm the boss of myself,
Sure.
so it's not like
Yeah.
I'm like, oh well, I'll just do it next week. And it's like I gotta, I can do it right now, so I guess I'll just do it right now, so I don't have to like fast track. So I end up working through the weekends, and then later in the day, I feel like a lot of the time I end up starting later in the day, so then I end later in the day. So like
This is
it's
why
just,
AI is
yeah, it's
never
hard
going
to
to replace
balance.
you, man, because it just won't work as hard as you do. Be honest.
The only person that works harder than me is my dad. He like, I
Yeah.
don't know how he does it. Every day since
Wow.
I've been born, he just,
Mm.
he's out every single day. He climbs trees every single day. He's almost 60 years
Wow. How
old.
old is he?
Still
Oh my
almost,
God.
he's 58. He'll be 59.
Climbing trees.
Um, every single day.
Does he have
Uh,
Amish blood?
I guess so. No, you know what he's got? He's got Italian stubborn blood. So
Okay.
he
That's pretty strong.
there's no if you're not moving, then you're rotting. So it's
Yeah.
constant. That's his
Wow.
enjoyment too. So if he's not working, he's still working because he goes to the sawmill and he cuts wood for a whole day. So He doesn't chill. He's not like, oh, let me kick my feet up for the weekend. Like, even on his off days, like, there's no off days. It's like, I'm not like that. Luckily, if I have an off day, I'm like, okay, let me just, if I can actually have an off day, I'll keep the off day. I don't go looking for more work. Work just kind of falls on me, and I feel like I have obligation to do it because you have to. But if I don't have to, I'm not.
That's why we need tools like AI to try and uh, cut down on some of the extra things that we do that we can. Maybe it's, you know, you can't do it with furniture, but maybe like other areas of your life you can
Yeah.
simplify and
I mean,
save
dude,
some
like,
time.
doing tax stuff and like all that, or
Sure,
keeping all my
totally.
paperwork.
Oh my
If
God,
AI
use
could
that.
do that, do it. Yeah, like I need to get the QuickBooks stuff in
Yeah,
order.
I'm asking
Yeah,
it already. I'm taking
yeah,
snapshots of my tax and be like, okay, what's
yeah,
wrong with my W-2 here? Something's not lining up.
yeah.
You know, and
That's
it's
it.
like,
That's
you know,
the other thing is like I'll open my bank account and I'll be like, when did I spend this or when did I spend that? And I'm like,
mm,
if I could just have AI to especially because a lot of the time on like my
mm,
thing, it'll only give you like a brief summary of where it came from. It'll be like sometimes it'll say like Amazon.com or whatever,
yeah,
but then it might be like if you got gas from like a gas station and it's got like a weird name, and then it'll be like
sure.
American
And you're like, what the hell is
something
that? You
NG. You're
think
like,
it's fraud or
okay,
something?
yeah,
Yeah, who charged my
like
card?
when did I spend $50 there or like here? And then
Uh,
if it can all just be compiled and AI is like, this is
yeah.
gas, this is personal expense, this was all your business stuff, I'd be like, oh great, that makes
And,
sense.
and finally, Max will be able to
Yeah,
watch episode 4 of Squid Games.
yeah. Then I can watch episode 4 of Squid Games and
Dude,
not
you got
just
to
go
watch
right to
it.
that.
It's good.
Yeah,
So good.
yeah, yeah.
It's
Well, that's
incredible.
the other thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you have the same kind of thing with Kayla. Did you watch that with Kayla, or did you watch it by yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah, totally.
Yeah, right. Of course. So like, that's the other thing is like, so I work all the time, but then Maddie, my girlfriend works all the time. She's a personal trainer now, so
Mm,
she has an obligation to clients, and I have an obligation to clients. So then we might
mm.
get, she gets done at like 10 o'clock at night, and I get done at
Ah,
whatever time I get done in the day,
yeah.
and then so we have an hour and a half to tell each other our whole days, eat, watch something real
Mm,
quick, and then go to bed. So
yeah.
lately, it's been Dexter is the is the one,
Oh, really?
but
Okay.
also I'm more of a movie watcher and show
Mm.
watcher than she is. So it's
She doesn't
like
like Squid Games.
she likes Squid Game. She didn't watch the first season though. She only started from season 2, and now she's like, now I want to go
Mm.
back and watch season 1. So
Start it over.
she just yeah.
It's
So
good.
so so that might end up happening too. But then
Dude,
it's like now
Dexter
we have
goes south fast.
yeah
You know, it's good for
we
like a
have so many
season. It's not worth hanging on.
we have so many irons in the fire. We have like Game of Thrones we
Yeah.
never finished. We have Dexter we never
Not
finished. We
worth it
have
either.
yeah
No, just stick with
yeah
Squid Game's so good.
yeah yeah.
I'm telling you.
Well, then we can't finish it either. So then it's like yeah,
It's not that many
got to
episodes, you
jump
know,
on
it's
it.
only two
Yeah.
seasons. That's like
Well,
it's
that's
a
what
completion thing. You can get
yeah.
complete
Well,
it.
that's what I'm saying is like these other shows have an end that where it will end. Like Squid Games, we're gonna finish this, and now we have to wait 2 years
Oh, that's
before the
fair.
next season comes
No,
out.
no,
You know
no,
what I
no,
mean?
no. It's coming in June, the end of it.
Well, the rest of this season, but then when does season 3 come? You know what I mean? We don't know where
If
Squid
there's a
Games
season 3.
ends yet. You know what I
That's
mean?
fair.
Where it's
Yes, those are finished series.
yeah, those are
The first
finished, so
time
it's a little bit.
is this the first time through Game of Thrones and Dexter?
Game of Thrones, I watched like the first 2 seasons, an
Has
hour, and
Maddie
then
seen it?
we rewatched. No, she's never seen it. She's never seen
Okay.
anything. She was like, I
Yeah,
was
she's
like,
like me.
were you just create it, and then
Yeah,
and
we
then
don't watch
came here?
stuff.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
never seen like anything. She never saw Breaking Bad, so we had to rewatch that, obviously, and
Mm,
then
mm, mm.
all my
So you're taking it
shows.
through the whole gamut. That's okay.
Yeah,
We'll get to Squid Games.
so basically, when we have an hour and a half at the end of the day, it's eat,
Yeah,
quickly figure out. And a lot of times, she doesn't want to watch something; she wants to just go on her phone because that's
sure.
easier. And I'm
Totally.
like, I get that. Like,
It's a lot of
and then
great stuff on the
yeah,
phone. I love
yeah,
Reddit.
yeah, I know, but
You
then you get
know,
sucked
scroll
in.
forever. Talking to
Yeah,
14-year-olds.
I think that's why I like shows and movies because there's an end to it. Like when you're on your
Mm,
phone, you have to just have the willpower to say, okay,
yeah.
I'm not doing this anymore. But when it's a show or a movie, you say, oh, it just ended. Now it's over. Now we can be done with that. And now we can go to bed or we can do this.
Mm,
With a phone, it's like a few more minutes. All right. The next one.
yeah.
All
It's
right. Well,
always
the
one
next
more.
10 reels I'll stop, and then you forget
Yeah.
because you get sucked into something else.
You're
I don't like that.
yeah, you're not
Yeah,
addicted. Good for you,
yeah,
man. Keep that energy.
yeah,
You need it.
yeah.
You need to be an
And
inspiration for
and so
us.
many people are just so like accepting towards it too. Like,
Yeah.
where there's like, oh yeah, I stayed up till like 4 o'clock in the morning last night on my phone,
Yeah.
like scrolling through TikTok. It's like, why do you even allow yourself to? Like,
Yeah, it's
that's hard.
hard.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Like,
yeah.
look at
We're trying to avoid the thoughts in our heads is the problem.
TikTok gets banned for one day, and everybody's losing their minds like it's the end of the world
Yeah.
is going. Like,
TikTok's
yeah,
not
and
great.
yeah, and like that's like you're basically like accepting that that's the only thing that you're going to be seeing. At least on Instagram or YouTube, you might get
Yeah.
sidetracked by it, but it's not the
Mm.
only thing. You go into TikTok, that's the only thing you're going to be seeing is that short form content, and I think that's a
Totally.
rabbit hole. So,
Totally
I mean,
radical.
for me, I think I deleted TikTok like a year and a half ago. So I was like,
But you
I
don't
feel
even have
better.
time for
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
You
It's
know,
like,
you got to be
yeah.
selective with your time, and I think that's a
Yeah.
good thing, right? Most of us probably have too much time in some ways.
Well, you build a connection to it, especially because
Mm,
yeah, you can compile all the things that you've liked. So then it's like, it
yeah,
kind of gets all these
sure.
TikTok things become like a memory bank, and then your TikTok is storing all those fond memories that you have of reels and whatnot. So when people lose that, they
Mm.
felt like they lost kind of like almost if somebody took your phone and broke it and you lost all your pictures. A lot of people
Yeah.
looked at it in that way where it was like they were losing,
Oh
you know,
yeah. All their
some
history and
enjoyment,
stuff.
I guess, out of it.
Yeah.
Uh
Do you read
oh,
books at all?
my headphone just crapped out on me.
Uh-oh. Do you read books at all? Oh, I
One
still can't
second.
hear him.
Do you
We'll
still
get
hear
back
me?
to that question. I can hear you.
Let
The
me just
mic's
switch it
working.
out real quick.
He's got a backup mic or a
There
backup
we go.
headphone. That's pretty cool.
The
Look at
gaming
that.
ones will do it. There we go. These ones are more
Yeah, backup
comfortable too,
headphones.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are my work. These are the work ones. You can tell because I actually they look pretty good now. They used to have paint all over them,
Hmm.
but I scraped it off. I guess they
I
they
was
go
just
everywhere with me.
I was asking if you read books.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I'm not big on books. They lose my attention a little bit.
Hmm.
But in the summertime is when I start to dive in a little bit more
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
I'm not a big like beach goer. But if I'm going to the beach, I
Hmm.
bring a book and I sit there and I read
Books.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Easy to
So
take to the beach.
so this time of year, less so, you
Hmm.
know. But summertime is when I'll get a book in. But it's not usually like a um profound book. It's like
Yeah.
last summer I read like Jurassic Park, and then I did read like 1984, but that was like boring to me. I
I've
like
actually
scra-
I've
I
actually been
scraped
wanting to
through that.
reread that book.
I scraped through that.
Yeah, it's actually super interesting and super relevant
Yeah.
to the current times, to be honest.
Well, that's why I wanted to read it because I
Oh,
felt like
okay.
that. But then I was like
It was too
trying
boring.
to, trying to keep awake reading it. But then like
You're
Jurassic
like, is
Park
there a TikTok
actually,
video about this?
yeah,
Just kind of
yeah,
catch
yeah.
me up. Can I just ask
I don't,
ChatGPT, give me the summary?
I don't know if you've ever read the original Jurassic Park, but it's pretty frightening. It's pretty like nothing like
I
the movie.
Yeah,
They
maybe I
like
will. Not a big fiction
the
guy, but
yeah. I mean, I guess yeah. It's
but
like
you
kind of like
know,
a horror movie more than it is like an action movie. Like there's a part
mm.
where like the velociraptors like eat a baby, like
I
a
have the
human
thing.
baby.
You ever hear of Aphantasia?
Yes, but explain it to me because
So
I
it's
can't think of what it is.
it's like
I've heard the word though.
an issue where you can't like imagine visually things in your head.
Hmm.
And so I think that that's
Yeah.
probably what's kind of dissuaded me from like reading fiction or things like that because
Yeah.
I can't really picture it.
Picture it.
So
Yeah. Have you tried like graphic novels and stuff like that?
like comic books and stuff.
Yeah, but like where, more adult ones, not like comic
I'd
strips.
sooner watch a movie probably, and I
Yeah,
think maybe that's what draws different people to different types of entertainment is just like how
yeah,
their brain functions and like what allows them to kind of maybe get the most engaged in something.
sure. Did you
I wonder
watch
if anybody. Yeah.
did you watch The Walking Dead? Was that a show you were into?
I watched like the first, couple seasons and it just kind of
Gotcha,
got
gotcha.
a little bit
Because
repetitive for me.
that was graphic novel that I read.
Oh,
That
actually,
was
yeah,
and that one
comic.
was pretty. That one was pretty like engaging, and I have like the hard
Mm.
covers of them. And actually, I got Maddie into them, and she ended up passing me. I still never finished it, but there's a lot to them. There's like it's like 140 something issues. So then that compiles. They're in it's called compendiums, and then sometimes they're called omnibuses, which is where they compile all the issues into like one big book essentially. Um, but
Oh, I
so
gotta
so I
tell
have
you,
those.
you're sounding
Yeah.
real white and nerdy right now.
Well, yeah. So they're all compiled. So there's like I think out of those there's like 16 of them, and I have like 8 of them. But
Wow.
those are pretty they're pretty fun to read, just
I
because
wonder if
they
the
have a lot of
Amish
that.
read
They have a lot of
those at
that
all.
visual stuff, especially if you've seen the show. Like if there was a Breaking, not that I would think I would enjoy a Breaking Bad
Yeah,
version of that, but
totally could be though.
you can kind of because like for The Walking Dead, I've seen a lot of the
Hmm.
locations and stuff. So it's and I do feel like I have an easy time picturing things. I kind of have to do my kind of work, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, I
totally.
have to be able to picture things like before I even do
Sure.
them. Um, so to have that context of like the Walking Dead show and then seeing a a cartoon comic version of it, and then you can kind of just like recreate these scenes, and then you already have voices to put to the characters too. And I think I don't know if that's something you do
Mm,
when you read. Do you put voices to people, or do you just read it in your voice in your head?
that's a good question. I think voices I have an easier time with.
Yeah,
Right, like I can hear like if I know a song, I can hear it completely in my head, all like the melodies and the
right,
sounds, just
right,
like I would normally be listening to it. So like voices, I think are pretty easy for me to recall. It's more just like the visual, but yeah,
yeah,
I can imagine if I like know what it looks like and like I have like a previous mental image of it, it
yeah,
probably would be easier to recall than just kind of trying to create it in my head. But like,
yeah.
I tried art when I was a kid, like drawing.
Hmm.
Even though I know like what, a dog or a cat looks like, if I try to do that
Right,
from memory, it's gonna look like, a 3-year-old. But like I can
yeah.
actually draw like by copying really well.
Right, yeah. Some people
But yeah.
and Maddie, my girlfriend, her dad is very similar in that way. I think he has the same kind of thing that
Yeah.
Fantasia. What is it called again?
Aphantasia?
A Fantasia. I think he has the same kind of thing because he was saying, he can't picture anything. He's bad at picturing things, but if he's looking at something, he can draw like pretty decently in the same way.
Yeah.
But we were talking about it
Yeah.
because I was talking about building and like I was trying to like tell him how I was picturing something, and he's like, I can't like picture
Yeah.
that.
It's
Like,
a it's
okay,
an interesting, it's interesting that
yeah,
we have
yeah,
different skills that,
for
contribute
sure,
to
for
what
sure.
we do differently.
But when I'm reading, I do like to put voices to people, especially if they give me a good description on what the person looks like.
Are there
Or
like
they're like,
interesting voices, like weird voices?
oh yeah, like as as detailed as I can get. That's what I like for
Do you listen
sure.
to audiobooks at all?
No, but I definitely want to. I've
It's,
been thinking about
honestly,
diving
it
into
kind of
that
turns me
more.
off the audiobooks because it's weird. It's like when you're reading something in written form,
Mhm.
it's not usually as conversational as people talk. It's
Yeah,
like an editor takes it like it reads and it's fine when you read it, but like when you hear somebody reading something after it's been edited for like written form,
yeah,
it just comes off really weird. Like even with that book
yeah,
I was telling you about with the Quincy Jones, the 12 notes, like when he was reading it, he wrote it, he's reading it, but it sounds like he's reading a book that was written for like reading, not for
yeah.
speaking. And
Right, right.
it was a little off-putting. It was a little bit uncanny valley
Yeah. It's
in
like
a way.
Janet says, "Come here." Dave
Yeah.
says, "I'm on my
Yeah.
way." It's like, all right, like, yeah, I get it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it gets a little annoying. But like for me, like an
Yeah.
audio book would be great because
Yeah.
I have to crunch
Well,
for
you're
time a
doing
lot
things
of
with
the
your
time.
hands. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I
Better than
just have
nothing.
my headphones on. That's why I listen to like I'll listen to like comedy podcasts or just like normal podcasts or whatever.
YouTube at all?
YouTube, if it depends. Like, it depends on what I want to listen to, but a lot of the time it's like
Mm.
Spotify, like podcasts. I'll just have like going.
Mm.
There's a funny comedian named Crystalia. I listen to him a lot.
Mm.
But I'll just, but I can, I have the time to listen to things all day long. Essentially, I have, eight
Amazing.
eight
you
to
know,
10 hours
if you can make use of
plus.
it and like,
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
can't
and
listen
I
while I
can,
work. I get
yeah.
distracted.
Well, I'm not working with like paperwork.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm working with my like I know I have to do this, so I can listen while
Totally.
I'm doing that. Yeah.
It's awesome.
So it doesn't get too bad. But sometimes, like if I have to do math and stuff, I'll be like, hold on, and I'll just like pause it, and then I'll be like,
Yeah.
and I'll sit there and think and be like, okay, and then just hit
Yeah.
play. But yeah, for the most part, I can listen to it all day, especially if I'm doing something monotonous like flooring or something. I'm having to do the same thing over and over, make the same kind of cuts over and over. I'm just walking back and forth, listening to my podcasts and enjoying it. So
A
that's
blessing.
it. Yeah. So
Meanwhile, the
it is.
Amish don't have that luxury, because they
No, and
just
I
don't have
think
the
they,
technology for it.
I think they
They just
would
have to
enjoy
listen
it.
to their own thoughts, make up
They have
voices and
their
like stories in their head.
they have their own podcast, but they put them on
When
vinyl
Jebediah.
records, and you have to play it on a you have to play it on a Victrola. Just two Amish guys sitting talking about their cornfields and harvesting with the season.
It's a different life,
Yeah,
but still interesting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You got to get up there. Well, how far is it from Philly? You're
I
basically
think
right
it's
there.
yeah, it's really probably maybe an hour drive or something.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm right
They
by
probably,
Philly too,
yeah,
so
they probably make good eggs.
yeah, yeah.
They
Probably just
got good
pickled
eggs out
eggs.
there.
They got the pickled eggs, I'm sure.
I
Just like
actually
the
like
gas
pickled
station.
eggs.
Do you?
Or honestly, the eggs in like ramen, like for whatever reason, like the half
Ah,
boiled or
okay.
whatever. I can
Yeah.
do
So you
that.
do like eggs. So you do
I
like
can do
eggs.
eggs in ramen. I don't know
Yeah.
why. Or I can do
Yeah.
eggs in like fried rice, like Chinese fried rice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can do like
Yeah.
eggs in that.
So yeah. So you do
It's
like
not
eggs
a
more than
breakfast
anything.
food. I don't like breakfast food. I've got a
Yeah.
vendetta
You
against
don't like
breakfast food.
people love pancakes, and I could never get behind like plain pancakes.
I don't like anything breakfast related. I want to eat
Yeah.
lunch at breakfast time.
Yeah.
I want to have
Yeah.
a
I mean,
burger at 7 a.m.
yeah.
and not
Yeah.
get a side eye.
So yeah, you know what? Something like I'll wake up and I always have sandwiches made. So I'll eat a sandwich for breakfast, and everybody's like, "You eat
Yeah.
a sandwich for breakfast?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Does it matter
Who cares?
if it's
You
bacon and
know?
eggs or if it's a sandwich? It's the same
I
thing."
don't
So
I don't know if it's eggs that bother me or just like my resentment for like being forced to eat breakfast type food that I don't generally like.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you can't get any of these all these places they serve breakfast delicious. It's just the
Well,
culture.
that was the most annoying thing as a kid when it was
Yeah.
still breakfast time at like a fast food place, and you're like, "Oh,
Thank you.
this is
Thank you.
horrible." Yeah, that was the worst thing ever.
Meanwhile, Taco Bell honestly has my heart. I think they just got rid of breakfast in
Did
most like
they?
places. They open
Okay.
at like 8 a.m. and they got the whole menu. You can order like, whatever kind
Yeah,
of
I feel like
burrito you want.
that must be a giant pain in the ass for them to have to switch their
Yeah,
everything up. Like you might
totally.
as well just have your whole menu from the
Yeah.
morning to night.
Nobody's
Yeah,
going really. I mean, I guess some people are going for the breakfast. It was actually pretty good, the breakfast crunch wrap, but like, I don't know, just get a regular
I
crunch wrap.
like
We don't need the eggs. We don't need it.
I do like I mean I do like Sizzlies from Wawa, but they're there basically all day. Yeah.
Sizzlers?
Si
What?
Sizzlies from Wawa. The
Sizzlies? What's a
Sizzlies.
sizzling?
It's like bacon, egg, and cheese, and it's on
Oh,
a
okay. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
on a
yeah.
bagel, but they're like greasy, so they're good. They're like
Yeah, I
smothered
like
in
grease. I
grease.
like the McDonald's
Yeah.
breakfast sandwiches, like the steak, egg, and cheese
Sometimes
on the.
but like the egg McMuffins, at least from when I was a
I'm not a
kid, I just
McMuffin
remember them
guy.
being they're just dry too, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah, I
like
don't
biting
like the
into
bread.
rubber.
I don't like a
Yeah,
McMuffin. No,
yeah,
and the
no
eggs,
way.
no, it's nothing good
No,
about it. Or like
yeah.
the sweet one with the syrup on it. What was it called? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was disgusting too. You
Yeah,
know what's good though? I
McGriddle.
like.
It was the McGriddle.
Do they? I haven't been to Taco Bell in a long time. Do they still have the twists, the cinnamon twist things?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
not
those.
great.
No,
Oh,
I
you
used
like
to love
those?
them when I was a
I
kid.
actually,
I loved them. I
they
think that
have
was like the only thing I would get from Taco Bell when I was a kid.
wow. You might be one of the small few that they keep it around for. They made
Maybe.
like a strawberry and cream version, I think, that I really liked.
Yeah, and what they
It's like
got rid of them.
weird. They don't really do a lot of different desserts. They did like the partnership with Cinnabon. I actually did my MBA thesis on Taco Bell and like what they needed to improve. And I'm pretty sure that I excoriated them about the breakfast thing. maybe they read my paper. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Maybe you should
I love
become like
Taco Bell.
a higher up at Taco Bell. I think they would be lucky to have you.
Look, if anybody from Taco Bell sees this podcast, I would actually,
Just clip this part and
I
put it
did
out there.
apply. I applied when I was living like 5 minutes away from Taco Bell. I applied for a job at Taco Bell on the website. I
Yeah.
didn't say anything. I didn't, obviously, like, some people may say that I'm overqualified or whatever. I didn't even give a resume.
Yeah.
Like, they just, I don't know if it was like my name. They didn't like my name. Like, how do you just
Yeah.
disqualify somebody?
You know what? That is weird, right? Because I remember it was right before I got the job to work on the HBO show, like doing set deck, because that was
Mm,
kind of a union thing.
mm.
I went and I applied for the AMC movie theater, and
Yeah.
it was like the longest list to put out a resume, and it asked me all these like things and like what I
Oh,
did
wow.
before, and I had did like
Huh.
tree work before, and I had always
Sure.
kind of done, but I just wanted to work at the movie theater because I was like
Why not?
I was like 17, just about to turn 18 or something like
That's
that,
perfect. Perfect
and I
age.
was
Yeah.
like, you know what, why not? I'm just like just for a little bit, and then I'm gonna go do whatever I'm gonna do, and
Yeah.
they never even like entertained it. They were like, "Thanks for your
Nothing.
application. Like, we'll get back to you." And then it was like a week later. They were my uncle, who was
Mm,
uncle. He's like my dad's best friend. He works on
mm,
movies and shows and stuff like that.
mm.
He was like, "Hey, we need an extra hand with this show if you want to come help." And I was like, "Absolutely." And then that was when I
Yeah.
started getting more into carpentry because I had to build. I mean, like I did it my whole life,
Oh,
kind
wow.
of,
Huh.
but this is when I got to do it like for somebody and got paid for it. So and then I got to
Blessing in
work with
disguise.
and I got to work with actors and stuff that I liked. Like I was a big fan of Evan Peters, and he was on the show, and
Kate Winslet.
Kate Winslet. Kate Winslet, I actually worked with more, and she's a bigger actor, but I was like, I only know her
It's kind
from
of cool.
Titanic, and only
Yeah.
briefly. Yeah, she gave me her
That's
gloves
all I
too.
know.
I was free. I was freezing one night because
Oh, wow.
we were doing this night shoot. It was in Philly actually, and
Hmm.
I just was a dumb 18-year-old kid, and I made the mistake of wearing. I just was wearing like a hoodie and like a button up over the hoodie, and it was like 15 degrees outside or something.
Wait, a
And
button up
I,
over the hoodie?
yeah, like it was like a it's like a jean like work shirt because it was outside, so I had like a hoodie on, and then like it was just like a
Okay.
not like
Okay.
a business shirt, but like a work shirt,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a flannel
Okay. Okay.
kind of
Okay.
thing. But it was like made out of jean,
Okay. And it wasn't
and
warm enough.
it wasn't warm enough now because I thought we were going to be inside. I didn't realize that we were going to be stuck outside for the entire day and
Mm,
night because we started. So usually we would start at 6 a.m. and we would be done by 6 p.m. Sometimes it would go past. So we were working 12-hour days just about every day. But then I was on set for this one day. And being on set is like when they're filming, like instead of just we build the sets and then we go to the next one, they film at the set we just built. So I was an on set deck this day, and it was freezing cold. And we started instead of starting at 6 a.m., we started at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and it went from 1 p.m. until 5
mm.
a.m. the next morning, which was
Wow.
horrible. That was so much worse. That was so much worse than
Yeah.
6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So, um,
Wow.
yeah, that was brutal because we needed. So we're setting up for to get all these nighttime shots, and then they wanted to film all the nighttime stuff. So basically, they didn't. We had set up from 1 o'clock. It's a winter time, so sun went down around like 4:30. So we were getting everything ready for 4:30. 4:30 rolls around, they start filming because it's dark. 5 o'clock, they probably started actually filming, and then they filmed from 5 to 5. So they had their 12-hour shoot, and then we had the few hours before prepping. Um,
Mm.
but they get to go in and out of their trailers, or like Evan Peters
Sure.
was in this one like house that they had like rented out, so like they're just like staying warm, and we're out there just like sitting there waiting for them to come back out. And for me, it was brutal because when you're on set deck, the set is already made, so you really don't have to do much. So I
Mm,
was basically just standing there, just watching and waiting, and like the amount I don't know if you've ever been around it, but the amount of times they'll redo a nothing shot is like it's like nonsensical how many times like
mm.
for them to waste that much time on one shot. They probably got uh 30 seconds of footage from that entire day. They probably got a little bit more than that,
Wow.
but it felt like that
That's
because
wild. Yeah.
so there was this one scene. She's driving her car, and she looks out the window and she sees something, and then she like opens the door and like gets out, and then it cuts, and then they're like, all right, we're gonna have you run it back. So they have reverse the car and then pull up and reverse the car and pull up, and they must have made her do this for probably 2.5 hours, just getting
Oh
her
my God.
reaction of looking and then unbuckling and getting out of the car and just doing it over and over. And I'm like, I think we got it, guys. Like, what are we
Yeah,
doing here? Like, this is
yeah,
insane. And like when you see it in the show, like it's like, oh, like you don't even like notice it. It's like a nothing shot. Like I was saying, like
yeah.
it's not an important thing. It was just like she thought she saw like a poster outside, but that poster wasn't even there when we were filming. It was just like what she was like supposed to be seeing, and like that happened a lot too. Is like we don't know, like especially us, we don't know how things are going to end up. We just know what we have to get done. So like we were at this one place called the Cricket Club, and it was like a high end like cricket like game club like for like rich people. And we had to do all this work to set up the place and pull all the chairs out and block the windows and like put new furniture in and new like just everything to redo this room. You don't see any of it. It's all blurred out in the thing. They must have spent tens of thousands of dollars just to rent the place, and then tens of thousands of dollars on the crew to get us to do all this stuff, and then tens of thousands of more dollars in props, and then you don't see any of it in the show. And then the outside of that building we had set up for like a valet scene, so we had like all these keys and stuff, and I was waiting for that to pop up on the show because that was connected to the same building. But when they walk out of that building on the show, they cut to a different building, and that's supposed to be the
Oh
outside
my
of the
God.
building. So it wasn't even a building that I was at that they ended up using for like the outside of that building that we were in. It was like just the location, the way that everything happens, and like the people that manage the locations, and then the art directors and stuff. Especially the art directors, they're just like unbearable to deal with. Like we had this one guy, his name was Edward, and he was just like this British guy, and he didn't he would have to just work on all day on something that was never going to be seen, and it didn't really matter, like because he would just walk in and out and say just do it, and then we'd be like all right. Like we had to fill fake files for this one scene that it was going to be in the background, and we had to fill up like these like files. So I had to go around this whole hospital like just looking for papers to like fill these files, and we sat there for hours just filling fake files and putting them on the shelf like to look like a wall of files. You don't even see any of it, like not even for a second. And we must have spent, I don't know, probably 4.5 hours just doing papers and doing other stuff. But yeah, so you get a lot
You
of
know,
stuff like that.
you know what I'm hearing, Max?
Yeah,
To be honest, I'm hearing that I think we actually need to bring AI into the movies uh to
to
take
make the
care of some of
background.
this.
Yeah,
It make some of the
you know,
back,
it
make some of the
gives
backgrounds, make
people
some of the
jobs though.
choices.
Gives people jobs. A lot of like for me,
Maybe those jobs shouldn't exist. I don't know.
yeah, maybe not.
Some of
I mean,
them. You gotta build the
for
sets, but
me, it was just fun, and I just enjoyed being there. But
yeah.
for a lot of these people, they could care less about the show. They just had to make a living, as a stagehand union, which is local 8 and Philly. But for them, it was just like this is easy work, so whatever. But I don't know, working 12-hour days all the time like that wasn't fun. Like because you were working a
We
minimum
could
of 12. I mean, I'm sure they were fast tracking. I was only working there for like 2.5 months because it was
we
just
could give them
production.
time back. We could let them spend more
Yeah,
time scrolling TikTok or
yeah, exactly.
watching Squid Game, you know, or
Yeah,
even
I
building
don't.
furniture and listening to podcasts like the Bob Seat.
Yeah, we just got to figure out how we can generate a way for everybody to live, and they don't have to do anything. They just have to breathe air.
Right?
Yep, that's that.
Yeah, I know.
Put them on the
I,
Bob seat.
well, with that, my friend, I
Yep.
feel like we could probably continue this conversation
Yeah, we
for
could probably
quite a
go a few
while.
days. Yeah,
I think we covered the past 2 hours quite a good amount about the AI, quite a good
two
amount of
hours?
been wait, has it been only 1 hour?
Has it been? I have no idea.
We started this at around seven
Oh
fifteen
wow,
p.m. It's
look at that.
we'll give the listeners a little
That's pretty
break
good.
until the
That's
next
pretty good.
time that we bring Maximus on. It's Max,
Yeah,
right?
that. Yeah,
Max for short.
yeah, Max for sure.
Uh, well, I got to say, Max, for a 23-year-old, you are well beyond your years in terms
Thank you.
of experience and thought processes. You bring a good perspective to the listeners of the Bob Seat. Be great to have you back on
Of course.
the future if you're interested,
Of
and
course.
maybe we'll even dip our toes into politics, even though it's not really something that we talk about.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll have
Uh,
a it'll be like a holiday special.
this is going to be an interesting 4 years, and I hope that this podcast can be kind of a source of I don't know, authenticity for some people, just to kind of hear some real conversations from real people beyond the noise of the apps and the propaganda that everyone wants to give to us. And I appreciate your thoughts, man. It
Yeah,
was
of course.
really,
Thanks for
really
having me.
great having you here. This is the longest podcast I think I've had so far, and
Yeah.
maybe it's setting a new precedent.
Yeah.
Maybe they've all got to be 2 hours at this point.
Maybe.
But I don't think anybody listening to this will feel like there was a dull moment. Super
Yeah.
interesting. If you skipped forward to the end, you got to go back and listen to it because this was a really interesting
You gotta
conversation.
break it down into segments. That's how they do.
Yeah, no, it's raw and uncut. That's how we do it around here. But
Put your sponsor segments in between. Start getting you
hey,
some
Taco Bell,
Mountain
if you
Dew,
want to
Taco
sponsor,
Bell. We had a Tesla,
we're ready.
Mountain Dew, Taco Bell. We got a few of them, a few
We're here. We'll
brands.
take your money.
Yeah,
Even Sam Altman. Not that you
yeah,
need it.
yeah.
Uh, hey man, I hope you have a great rest of your night. And
You too.
if anybody wants to reach out to you in the comments, uh, they can, and maybe you can answer
Yeah,
questions if they have any. But until
absolutely.
then,
Yeah.
uh, I'm gonna end the recording
All
and
right.
call it for people.
We'll do the salute. All right. I'll see
Uh,
you.
Alrighty.